ニーズリストリームご覧の皆様、こんにちは。ここからは司会、私、天雪でお送りいたします。続いての作品はですね、エルテイルモンスターズ、カテゴリー US2% となっております。こちら、解説の方いらっしゃいませ。わかる方、解説フォームから応募していただいたり、ちょっと喋るの恥ずかしいわーっていう人は、チャットから文章でアシストしていただけると嬉しいです。一応こちらでも個人的に、ウィキペディア、今ちらっとカンニングしながら見てるんですけど、こちら、1997年7月9日、イマジニアから発売された任天堂64専用ソフトになっております。イマジニアっていうところと、最近、過去に発売された作品で言うと、シムシティシリーズや、この辺、何有名かなメダロットシリーズ、あと最近で言うとフィットボクシング発売を出されたところですね。今度北斗の拳とところとコラボした作品が出るらしいんですけど、そうですね。任天堂64にしては珍しい RPG だったということで。サンリオタイムネットもありましたね、そういえば。そうですね。概要としては、冒険の舞台は、精霊の力があらゆる場所に息づく島、セルトランド。ある夜、精霊院の奥深くに秘められた人知を超えた知識が記されているというエーテルの書が盗まれてしまいます。それを追いかけた父親、バート・マカロックは行方不明になってしまいます。プレイヤーは主人公である精霊使い、ジャン・ジャックとして、父親とエーテルの書を探しに旅に出ます。そんな感じです。要するに、目的のために旅してたっけだから突然巻き込まれていくみたいな。そうですね。うんうん。さっき見たのと思ったらその方でしたか。一応海外表記これクエスト64なのかな。うん。書かれるとすごいざっくりしてるように見えるんですけど。奏者の方の紹介させていただきましょうか。奏者の今回走られるビンチャービンチャーさんかなでいいのかな。今回のイベントのエルテイルモンスターズをかなり走られている方で、カテゴリー結構いくつかあるんですが、一部カテゴリー除いて、一部カテゴリー除いて、1、2、3、4、5のグリッチ列。 2、3、5個以上、5個以上の記録を持たれてまして、なおかつ、4カテゴリーでワールドレコードを取っていらっしゃる方ですね。日本語版は走られております。に、なるほど。ここにも、頑張れ、五右衛門やボンバーマン64知られてるそうですね。クエスト RPG、ブライアン・ジャーニー、これ続編か。続編、そういえば、続編あったそうですね。ゲームボーイカラーのジャックの大冒険、大魔法の逆襲っていうのがありますね。この方も今回の奏者さん走られてるようですね。で、そちらのゲームボーイカラーの方では、日本ロム N2% でワールドレコードを所持しております。US 版 N2% は2位で。ね、うん。そうですね。日本語版あるにはあるんですけど、奏者がいないんで、今走れば日本一位は約束されますね。今回は、英語版カテゴリーなんですけど、ちょっと、知識がないのと、日本版と海外版の違いがちょっと把握できてないところはあるんで、どこが違うんだろうっていう状態で見届けることになってしまいますが。
To get involved in the fight against mental illness and the stigmas it can bring. Reach out to NAMI via their state organizations or on Facebook where they can be found as NAMI, on Instagram and Twitter as at NAMI Communicate. It is not a weakness to help. Please reach out if you think you need it. We are going to be
ちな
getting
み
set up
に
here
なんか
for our
200
next
エレメントパスとかカテゴリーも結構あるんですよね。バグありバグなしの細分化に加えて。
Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Crystal Bearers Legend Professor Palmer on the mic, and it is going to be a fantastic time. In the meantime, for that run, we have met quite a few of our incentives. Both of the bonus fights have now been met, and we have just one incentive left that we are trying to finish off at the end of the Quest 64 run.
生徒だけなので、おそらくグリッチありの、バグありでのエニパだと思われます。
Following the Quest 64 run, we're going to have the Dragon Warrior 2 run that will be on the Game Boy Color, and there are a number of naming incentives and an option to have the final song sung as well for that. So get your donations in. Thank you very much.
なるほど。過去にも採用された作品なんですね。うん。
Got a couple of donations coming in here. We got a $25 donation from Miria that just says meow. Thank you so much. And $100 from Miles the Wolfman that says, this is to crash Quest 64, the most blurst N64 John. I got you, Mutsky. Thank you so much, Miles, and I'm glad.
確か今回は、この作品って多分ビッドはないのかな？どうなんだろう。 現在、画面左側に表示されているのは、ドラクエ2のものになっておりますね。
Just to look ahead at a couple of runs we have coming up for the late red eye.
ドラクエ黄金太陽。
Following the Quest 64 run by Bing, we're going to have some gamers run of Dragon Warrior 2. And then following that, we'll have Golden Sun, any percent, no saving.
では、ここで改めてイベントの概要について説明させていただきます。現在、ジャパニーズリストリームでは RPG リミットブレイク2022の様子を公認で日本語ミラー配信しています。RPG リミットブレイク2022は RPG 作品に対して特にフォーカスしたチャリティー RTA イベントで RPG という特徴のためタイトルの平均時間は比較的長く他のイベントではなかなか見られないような人気タイトルも予定されております。今回のイベントはユタ州のソレトレイクシティでオフライン開催されています。今回の RPG リミットブレイク2022も例年に引き続きナショナルアライアンス・オン・メンタル・イルネス通称ナミを支援するためのチャリティー RTA イベントとなっております。ナミは精神疾患を持つ方、その家族、心の不調や悩みを持つ方たちを支えることを目的に設立された非営利団体です。始まった画面
talking you guys up for the last like 20 minutes, so you guys better be bringing the fuego, all right?
Oh, I'm gonna do my best. Well, somebody said cheating percent. The cheating is that I use glitches.
イベントは23日の午後1時まで週を問わず開催されております。ぜひ最後までお楽しみください。すいません、はしょっちゃいました。
Is very, very RNG heavy. And the nice thing about this game is no matter what you do, it always starts on the same RNG seed. This is only mildly relevant, but I just want to say that now. Are we ready with the timer? All right, I'll take that as a yes. 3, 2, 1, and go. So we start because
2をした瞬間ですね。はい、始まりました。グッドラックです。
for mashing A and Z.
なんかいじったのかな、ちょっと今なんかオプションにしてたように見えてるんですけど、ちょっと今何が起きたんだろう。
The very first thing I did was change my text speed to max, and I messed it up because I'm out of practice on that. But the text speed actually.
これを見た感じ 3D アクションともう要素もあるような感じですかね。結構めっちゃドタドタ動いてます。
Huge part of any percent that makes any percent is a glitch called death dupe. So there's a lot to explain here.
とりあえずまず外出から始まりそうですね。
The death dupe is started with a glitch that's called.
髪型ちょっと触覚みたいにピョコンと跳ねてて可愛いですね。
You have the spell menu open as an encounter starts, but
はい、この子がこの作品の主人公ジャンジャックさんですね。ジャンジャックくん。エーテルの書を取り戻すために旅立った父を探すためわずか10歳にして旅に出るメルロード聖殿医の見習いになっております。あ、外出ましたね。右上に羅針盤あるので、まあ迷子にはまあならないでしょう。うん。
What, 5 different encounters we can get? A single hellhound, a double hellhound, a single, double, triple werehair, and a big mouth. Oh no. 5, 6 encounters? Oh man, it's been a little while. And then parasol bumbershoot. No, it's can I do math? Yeah, 6 encounters. We want the parasol and bumbershoot or hellhounds, because those are faster than us. And then the next important thing is I need to be very, very, very low health so that I die in one hit. So what happens is we will
ちょっと建物に入ったこれは要件があるのかな。いるゆ
on top of a spirit, which is essentially a rare candy that sits in the overworld. But once you pick up the rare candy, you have to
ステータス関係表示されましたね。こちらは
on top of that, we get the encounter we want.
HP と MP はもちろん左下に精霊のマークかな。火、風、水、地の4つの精霊に対応した呪文がありますね。うん。あ、戦闘ですね。あ、逃げた。あ、枠 枠超えたらもう戦闘終わりなんですね。これ、ランダムエンカウント式なのかな。
The encounter ends as you escape. So we want to be out of the encounter like this with the item menu open, death audio, and when that
あ、割と逃げやすいのかな。
and then the game just gives you control of your character while you're respawning back to the inn, which is where we saved. And you have about if you get a perfect
あ、
death
ことごとく戦闘回避狙ってんのは、おそらく、一応、ウィキペディアによりますと、
it's a long
この作品、レベルの概念存在しないんですよね。
is to have about
なんで、まあ、どれだけ逃げちゃっても大丈夫でしょっていう話になっちゃいます。
actually no. That was the old way. The way now
しかし、エンカウントが多い。
a lot of water and like as much earth as we can get after that. So I'm gonna aim for about 40 if I can, and then as much earth as we can.
あ、逃げ判定入った。あれ
That was
逃げられない。
explanation just to explain death to the most important glitch. Right now, we're just going to take some damage here to get us low. Hellhounds this is one of the encounters we would like to see. Alright, so I'm gonna say we're not gonna take another hit.
あれ
Maybe 3 or
あ、
4.
逃げ、危ない危ない。
And we're gonna hope we get another. Actually, I wouldn't mind just a werehair because that'll make sure I have a nice amount of.
レベル上げなくてこれってちょっと厳しくないですか。
But we'll give Big Mouth a chance. Big Mouth is very, very slow.
体力低いとちょっとゼイゼイしてるのが結構細かいですね。
We kind of a little bit of a stream lore is that we kind of think of him.
次被弾したらちょっとまずいんじゃないですか。
He doesn't know his own strength, so Big Mouth is shaped as far as I'm concerned, but he's not exactly.
あ、逃げましたね。
Hopefully, we get a werehair.
あ、結構マップ広いですね。
That's lit.
これ何してんのかな。
And when I mentioned at the very beginning, before we started, this game always starts on the same RNG seed. There is
よく考えてください。この子勇者じゃないですよ。
RNG manip that gets you to nice set of encounters up through here, and I failed it because I'm bad.
バグ技やるのかな。
Would have just saved us maybe like a little bit of time. It's not significant. Wouldn't have set up the death tube. Okay, there's a good chance I'd die here. If he hits me,
何してんだろうこれ。
he's out of range. He does 3 or 4 damage, and if I need him to do 3 damage, he's going to do 4 damage. I'm just going to go here until we get a werehair. Perfect. Hopefully he does 1 damage. Good. Now I want this one to do 2 damage.
体力めっちゃギリギリなんですけど。
Okay, 1 damage is fine. I probably okay. I have 6 agility. I have to use hellhounds now because werehairs or parasol bumbershoot have 6 agility. And if you have the same
もうそろ壁抜けなのかな。だいぶぐるぐる回る範囲は狭くなったんで。
I'm spinning in a circle here because of the way encounter rate works in this game. The
HP 調整かな。エンカウントか。
to get into encounter. Pretty straightforward. Thankfully, in this corner, there aren't encounters because of how the game spawns encounters. I don't have a good answer for you beyond that. So spinning here for a little bit, just making
あ、
sure
HP 調整。
we're ready to get an encounter, and then I'm going to attempt to do Death Tube. It's going to look really bizarre. I promise if you see it, it'll make sense.
ああ、そうそう、昼夜
And Mutsuki, if you guys
変わるんですね。夜になるのを待ってたんかな。
We
Yeah,
got a
this is
couple of
actually
donations for you to kick off this run, though. We got $25 from Hanged Man that says, "Hey,
そうですね。
people
こ
want
ちら、
when Quest 65 is
64なので、C ボタンで
Quest 65
使える精霊
Shout out to every kid who
精霊の属性が変わる感じですね。うん。
Quest is best. Then we got $5 from DT Coast that says, "I hope we get to see Quest 65 someday." So people are really excited for the follow-up title in this series.
There was supposed to be a Quest 64 too. This game was actually considered a financial success. And I'm
Is
not
that
gonna
the only
explain any more than
metric
that. That's it.
you is that the only metric that you base the achievement that this game brings?
夜になってますが。
To be fair, this game
あ、壁際でインカウン
and
トで逃げる。
the combat is a
Okay.
rather interesting take on RPG combat.
一応昼夜の概念ありますが、
Pretty
BGM は変わりません。残念。
but there isn't much beyond that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was.
精霊選ぶ画面割といじってんのかな。あ、ちょっと待って、画面がおかしいぞ。
So I did cast a spell there, sorry to interrupt. And if I was slower than these guys, that would have worked for a setup. But unfortunately,
失敗した？
those
うん。
players on Bumbershoot whose agility agility is 6, and I have more
ちょっと壁が見えてきてる気がしますけど。
where I mash the start button really fast. I have played this game for so long and so much, I know exactly where the stats are on the screen, and I'm already looking at the right spot when I do that. So I saw that I had 6 agility and about 64%, and I have up until I have 8 agility. But I did forget to ask you guys, when we get to about the 11 or 12 minute mark, let me know, because at that point, Deathdupe is just not playing nice, and there's no reason for me to sit here and waste everyone's time.
なかなか出てこない。
Playing the game normally, which is, you know, a
3つの精霊レベル1。うん。
waste of time. But in terms of entertainment value,
なかなかうまくいかないですね。
So, you know, I'm enjoying the ride. I didn't even, you know, I haven't even paid attention at the time. I've just been mesmerized by
ここにとどまってるってことはやっぱ壁抜け狙っているね。
this game. It's like, you know, it's like they wanted to keep everything they could about N64 games, N64, and they were like, now how do we just make an RPG out of these assets we already have? Like that's the, you know, and it's really crazy. Like it just feels like an N64 game. You know, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got
but I
that
feel like they just
very
ここまで目が回りそう
though,
だ。
like I feel like they're not trying too hard. Like if you look at some of the, like, you know, the Square titles, like they always try to go with a really angsty protagonist with some really, you know, metal sounding name. But
この調整は何だろう、この
in here and
精霊のメニューの。
Yeah,
the expectation is exactly what it should be for this game, you know, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's a 10-year-old that's set out
ずれたかな。
in the world. I'm not going to cover the story now. For those of you who want to know the story, we'll cover that in about 30 seconds before the second to last boss. So you'll have to wait for that.
Okay, well, riddle me this then. Is there story elements?
ああ、その可能性もありますね。
Has this quail-shaped hairdo, or is that?
ちょっと
That is
石
actually
膏動画探しに行ってきますね。
like a Japanese thing. It's called Nahoge. It's supposed to mean he's naive, I believe. And we're a child. The Brian is like 10 years old, and he's just setting out into the world for story reasons that I don't want to spoil yet.
Yeah, and see, those are the layers of complexity that the game just the audience seemed to miss, you know. But it's there, you know. I wish I would have known that. Maybe I would have appreciated it more. Probably not, but you know, who knows?
I feel like the naivety is just, you know, fantastically juxtaposed with the wisdom that his sage staff implies as well. You know, it's like there's clearly going to be an arc of maturity and growth for little Brian here, without a doubt. You're approaching 11 minutes, by the way.
Okay, we'll do one more encounter and then we'll reset. So, for those of you, I explained Deathdupe in all its glory. So I've been running this game
成
since
功した動画見てきたんですけど、
when
あ、
glitches were first found. I've been using the same set of splits, of live
ちょ
splits.
っと絵面がやばいことでなってました。
Split way back then, and then I moved to live split, but I used the same splits. And I've been running this.
おそらく判定踏み待ちかなと調整して別の判定を踏む感じかと思われます。
To put in perspective, unfortunately it's a bit of an RNG mess. But if it does happen, it's really cool. It's
Yeah, this is
just
gonna be it though. This is the one.
it's a bit of a mess, unfortunately. But I'll tweet at RPG Limit Break with a yeah, that's gonna be just gonna take too long. I'll tweet at RPG Limit Break after the fact with a Deathdupe, so you guys
次やろう。
if you want to see it. Unfortunately, it didn't happen this time. It's
あ
kind
ー、リセット
of the
かな。
fact that I've done this run the way it is now in about 5 marathons, and I've gotten Deathdupe twice, which is insane to me considering
回タイトルに戻ってやり直しかな。
streams where I've streamed for 8 hours and not gotten a single Deathdupe. So, oh wow.
あ、リカバリーデータですね。
Got
リカバリーデータ使う感じですか。
Alright, so the after Deathdupe, assuming that just happened, wow, the very first thing we're going to try to do is something called agility glitch. So, we need a lot of agility because agility means stuff misses us, it means we can move further, it means we are more likely to hit.
成功したら今のところから始まる感じです。
In this game is there's 3 ways to level up your agility.
特定の敵で死亡と同時に回復して壊す。うんうん。
Time you take so many steps. It's the same in the overworld, but a bit
気
faster.
になる方は奏者の方の動画を見に行ってあげてください。
The game calculates how far you move between turns and gives you agility based off that. So, what agility glitch is, in the US version only, while also the PAL version,
地属性と水属性の精霊のレベルがずば抜けている。
if you're faster than the enemy you get an encounter with, you can skip your turn before the game fully loads the encounter. These guys are faster than me. I can't do it. What happens is the game doesn't get a chance to reset where your previous turn coordinate was. So the game thinks you moved from whatever that previous coordinate is to your current coordinate in a turn, so you get an absolute buttload of agility depending on where the previous
ど
encounter
こなん
was.
だろう。
So I just got a little bit here, but I definitely didn't get enough. So I have 595. Well, these I'm faster or slower than these guys too. So that's
5円カウントしますね。
we're just not lucky tonight. That's the way it goes. Quest 64 can be cruel. It is cruel. This game is mean. Unfortunately, people that have started to run this game or started to learn this game.
いや、エンカウント結構引っかかる
They're
な。
like, oh yeah, I want to learn this, and then they see Death Loop and they go, I don't want to learn this anymore. And I tell them to play any percent glitchless, and they'll change their tune pretty quickly. I promise. There is something I did forget to do. I need a certain amount of MP, and I have been forgetting to grind that. And
あ、地属性の
ways to grind, or the way MP grinding
レベ
works.
ルが上がりますかね。
Every time a spell hits, each individual hit of a spell gives you MP experience. Soul Searcher 2.
経験値は多分一応、精霊のレベルに
Soul Searcher 2 is also a glitched spell. It always
反
hits.
映される感じですね。
The effect doesn't always land.
ジャンジャク君には何も影響起きないようです。
Get MP each time.
あ、逃げるための魔法を。
So we're gonna grind our MP because we want to have a certain amount of MP at a certain point later on, and we are unlucky with encounters. I hope I have 6 now. Okay, good. So I've gone up like almost 2 levels of agility since that werehair way back then, which is crazy.
レタスのフォントがおしゃれすぎて読めない。
Let's see here. That was oh, and a fun fact, there's some spirits that are like up against walls like that one, and you can actually, the spirit's hitbox extends over the wall, so you can grab spirits from some unexpected places like that one. You can grab from over the wall instead of having to run in and grab it. And we'll be doing that quite a few times. You'd see it way more in all spirits, but any percent you only see it a handful of times. Alright. Escapes work.
この感じ、戦う気がない。
Agility. What do I need to do? I need to grind agility and grind defense. So, normally in any percent, we would not grind defense. And defense works similarly to MP. Every hit you take gives you defense. Wow. Crazy. It's very Final Fantasy 2 in stat grinding.
地属性の精霊のレベルが上がったみたいなんで、おそらく
Exit of this area, to
今のが
agility.
今の戦闘を強制的に終わらせるやつが地属性かと思われます。
Go out of bounds, blah 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 blah. Which is great. And what you did see with Deathloop, I'm going to show you real quick. This is the simpler version. This is called exit return cloning, which you can only get 6 a max out of, whereas Deathloop you can get a max of 96 depending how good your mashing is. So for US, picking up the spirit is 1 frame and placing the spirit is 1 frame. So I have a way of mashing where I hold the controller. I got 4, which is kind of my normal. And you
あ
get,
したのかな
you're not supposed to get more than
あ、
1.
何も変わってない。
Because they
ちょっ
forgot
と
to lock
いじっ
control,
た。
which, you know, this game was rushed out the door, so it's understandable.
Yeah, I'm just, blown away by all of the, if you told somebody,
Mhm.
"Hey, let me tell you about this speed game. It's got all of this stat micromanagement. It's got combat. It's got
Like a
skips. It's got glitches. It's
なんか増えたな。
really, not overly competitive leaderboard. You'd be like, oh man, sign me up. And I don't know where the disconnect is, but it's somewhere along the way. People, maybe there's just nobody gets to the conclusion of that aspect.
I mean, I might disagree on it being competitive. I would suggest everyone take a quick game
あ、またまあぐるぐる回ってる。
on speedrun.com and see the time difference between first and everyone else.
Ooh, dang. All right, go off, King.
To be fair, I'm pretty much the only person insane enough to grind this category, but I'm
ライトデュスピーとデュプリケーションと呼ばれているものがあります。うんうん。
by me, of course,
どういうものなの
is 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 14 seconds. And second place is like an hour and 40 or something. So, you know, it's a little bit different. All right.
You just gotta have some perseverance, guys. What he's saying is, to everyone in chat with a copy of this game, is come at me, bro. They need more runners.
Oh, please.
This is the you know,
接してるっぽい
this is an open challenge to all of you in chat with you know, a mission and a copy of this game. Why you still have that, you know, none of us will question you. You come in, no questions asked, and join the community just like that. So.
And if you actually genuinely want to learn this category, I will happily teach you all of my secrets because I want competition. I would love to have competition for this game. All right, so we're finally going to grind defense. I was worried about talking before, so I wasn't paying close attention. Every single hit is going to give us experience, so we're going to use this encounter. This is going to be like 5-ish minutes, maybe, about, give or take. So, if you guys want to talk some trash, a good time.
なんと、で、体力一回回復させたから儀式やんのかなこれ。どうなんだろう。体力調整ですかねこれ。あれ回復した。何してんだろうこれ。
And so I got, you know, a good chance to experience that.
攻撃
You know,
と
in your opinion, I know this is a much touted question, but of the two games from
あー握られてない。
just a speedrunning standpoint, which of those two do you prefer and why?
Currently, this one, because it has glitches. The Game Boy game is good, and for those of you who don't know, there is a Game Boy Quest, and it is literally the same game, but transferred to
なんかドーナツみたいな
made by a different
キワみたいなとこ
company,
になってま
uses
したけど、
exactly
あれ
the same
何だったんだろう。
story. Spells are mostly the same. It's much more coherent than this. Brian actually talks. There's cutscenes. It's a solid game. I would highly suggest playing it as a casual game. You could probably beat it in an afternoon without
あ
knowing
ーなる
what's
ほど
going on
ね。
at all.
レベルって概念はないけど、
But it's a lot of fun. If that game
ダメージを受けたとき、また敵にダメージ与えたときに敵と条件満たすことで能力値はちょっと増えていくって感じですね。
the glitches in this game,
呪文が成功したら MP。
if you
ダメージ受けたらディフェンス
I don't like glitchless.
防御が上がるかな
I don't
うん。
enjoy glitchless in the vast majority of games because more often than
あ、
not,
育成ですね。
but fast. And I'm
レ
not
ベル上げがない分、ここで
or anything that's
ス
like
テータスが増える
you
という。
know skill based. This is an RPG. It's not the most intense RPG, so it's kind of, you know, it's very, very straightforward on what you're doing. The more simple a game is, the more boring glitchless is to me. But yeah, no, this 100%, I would say the
57。
better speed game. The Game Boy is definitely a better game.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting to see kind of like the similarities, and now, you know, this opportunity I have to catch the second one or
10歳でこれ
right,
や
this one was first. I've
Yep.
forgotten that one.
10歳にしてはだいぶ体張ってますよ。
And yeah, it's neat to just kind of see the comparisons, and you know, it's very obviously like the same, you know, concept, just ported, but obviously you can't get away with some of this geometry and stuff like that on a Game Boy.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Another fun fact about the Game Boy game is Avalanche is still really broken. However, two things changed pretty significantly. Well, I guess three things. Magic Barrier is trash in the game.
59。
Absolute trash. It is required to do this run on the N64 to have a magic barrier. Otherwise, this run would be significantly longer. But the Game Boy game, it's like a
この
temporary
人形が
to even land.
攻撃ダメージそこまで高くないから、まあ
The other thing is
Sandbox.
he has a hitbox way up in the sky, so you can't actually hit him with Avalanche at all. The most powerful spell in
にちょうどいいのかなって感じ。
that isn't avalanche
逆サンドバッ
is
グ。
in
うん。
level 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if I remember correctly, I think you prioritize elements differently, right?
Yep, you use
Because
wind,
isn't wind? Yeah.
サンドバッグに叩かれる。
and also you learn spells differently in the
This-
Game Boy version. Like
叩かれてレベルアップ。
take
あ、MP も増えましたね。
and you get all of the spells in the Game Boy game. You have to mix to get spells. So that guy got too close, so I had to kill him.
Watch your
なんか一匹自爆しませんでした ?130 の。
Pretty much. He wasn't
あ、
giving me
自爆じゃないかな。どうなんだろう。一匹倒した？うん。
Not about that. I need all the hits. So normally, if we were just being kind
安定チャートでは63まで増やす。もう少しですね。
I don't want to die. I'm gonna go to 63 HP, and this, especially since we're fighting Fargo and Shelf, we will be super duper safe. Like the normal any percent category. Yo, Kios. Thank you, my guy.
ああ、なるほど、なるほ
The
ど。
normal any percent category.
ちょっと近づいてきてますね。
Like, if magic barrier drops or you get a certain encounter at certain spots, the run is definitely over. And we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen. So, yeah, we want to be able to finish the run. All right, we're almost done with the defense grind, but we still have to do the agility grind. We want to do the defense before we finish the agility grind. Otherwise, these guys would be missing way too much.
I can't help but to notice.
そろそろ近いんじゃないですか。
It appears chat has noticed as well, but the attack is called Mario Nasty, or is that the
Nope, that's the
enemy?
enemy.
Okay.
The enemy is Mario Nasty or Mario Nasty, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It is using a spell called Windcutter level 2, which hits 3 times.
いい。
So
Mario
I'm gonna
Nasty.
take.
防御かなどうな
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I think it's supposed to. I mean,
あ、63になりましたね。
and it's supposed to be a nasty Mario.
HP 上げ終わりで
It
す。
makes sense,
Oh,
but
yeah, when you
everyone is
explain
like,
it that
"Oh,
way, it
Mario."
makes total sense. Yeah.
right? So this tree that I'm using here to run around is actually a very convenient spot. This encounter area will always be exactly the same size, so I can always run out of it like this. All right, so we have 30 agility. I need to have 48, so this is going to be about 5 or 6 more in and
さっ
outs.
きも来ませんでし
A
た。
little bit. I don't remember the exact agility numbers. We can check in a second. Now I can tell you. So I'm just going to take hits whenever these happen, just because every little bit of HP and defense helps. So I went from 30 to 32.9, so maybe a bit more in and out than I thought. That's okay.
The Mario Nasties, they look like if Sheik like had a really rough day. You know what I mean? That's what they.
Yeah, right?
Or if Sheik had like a George Washington style, that old Arab, wig on, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great to see other Nintendo game influences. Clearly.
てるっぽいですね。頑張ってほしいです。
Oh boy. All right. I get to see some of the other enemies. Kobold. Just because my agility was kind of messed up, I didn't specify, but I actually know in each area what the highest agility enemy is. And in this area, it's the Kobold with 16 agility. Normally, if agility glitch plays nice and we get the right encounters on the way there, and somewhere between 11 and 16 or so. So our prayer is nothing, no Kobold, or rather anything but Kobold, so that we can actually get an agility glitch, because the more agility glitches you can do, the faster your agility's up.
Yeah, so
Alright,
someone
let's
said, was that the Star Fox team? That was the Star Fox team that didn't make it, and this was their backup gig.
This is the
Yeah, this
the
is
B team.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm actually going to kill this encounter. Because and I missed the kobold. Because the I don't know if I really need it, but the bats can drop a silence.
さすがにここは倒した。
Okay, didn't get it. That's fine. All right, 42. This will be 44. 40. Yeah, okay. We're going to move on from here, and we're gonna go fight the first boss, Solvering.
We have Star Fox at home.
Yeah, no, that's an accurate.
防御を上げる。うん。
Enemies look compared to Star Fox. I mean, they're good designs, but obviously they look very similar to other games. And it's an N64. Yeah. It is what it is. All right, so the very first thing we're going to do is I have 44 agility. I want an encounter. I'm going to run this way around the tree so that maybe we'll get an encounter right here, but of course not when I actually want one. So another thing of picking the spirit up way further away than I should, and these boots we will hold on to for a very, 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 very long time.
なんか続いてた。
Anybody who's played this game will remember that the first boss sucks. He is
育成してた作業終わったのかな。
So they and this is part of them running out of time, but they balanced him very, very poorly. So instead of like nerfing his numbers or like the flat damage of his spells, they just made his attack really, really low, his attack stat. So he hits like a truck for no reason.
Now, I have a. Let me know what you think on a conspiracy theory like this. It's
Okay.
pretty well known, but a lot of people believe that Nintendo made bosses
いや、多くない？
levels around that amount of gameplay time in order to combat the rental
一
market.
掃しました
Do
ね。
you think maybe that was what happened?
精霊ってすげえ。精霊の力ってすげえ。
To come, it's only downhill from here kind of situation.
For this game, definitely not.
We'd love to
Hey.
excuse it as that. That's we, but
Other games maybe. This game, oh, absolutely not. Oh, and I forgot to agility glitch. They were running out of time, and there was like 2 people working on it in Japan. They brought in a dev from the US
地
specifically.
面から吹き出てるのを拾っ
So this
なんか
game
拾わない 拾っておきたいものだったのかなって。
some of the most now, you know, I don't want anyone to assume, especially myself and Bing. You know, I think I speak for my man here as well when I say that we don't necessarily associate quality of game like directly tied to like that's how much you can enjoy it. You know,
Right.
there are some games that you can enjoy and then come away and be like, oh yeah, no, it is a 1 out of 10, but boy, did I have an absolute blast of a time. And you know, sometimes, you know, as Bing's described these, you know, less than fortunate developing circumstances, you know, sometimes that's what we end up with, and it's still nice to know that, you know, even though it might not be their
なんか
original,
進んでるって感じがします
do
ね。
those developers
なん
justice
か
here
拾
in
う。
front of thousands of people for a good cause at RPG Limit Break,
なんか
showcasing
拾いに行きますね。宝箱。
they're here on display. And so far, it has been a tremendous experience. Look at this guy.
名前読めなかったけ
I
ど。
don't know if I have enough to one-shot him. He has 200 HP. Oh, of course I missed. Solvering showing what he does best, which is making you look stupid. No, I don't quite do enough damage. So in glitchless, this is the reset point of the run because this boss sucks. In any percent,
直接殴ってない？あ、倒した。
I think 2 times ever because I was being cheeky and it went poorly for me. So yeah,
今直接倒しましたよね。
great because he's
ソルバリング、
he's the
ボス戦。
reset
うん。
point in the glitchless categories.
You know, I'm
The... Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
杖で殴ってましたね。
With the, you know, I just feel like I see misses a lot. Is that like a, you know, is miss something that happens quite often in this combat system? Like, you know, with some games,
Oh,
for instance,
boy.
you get it like, you know, you see a miss like 1 out of every 10, but this is like, you know, it seems like
あ、魔法登録してんのかなこれ。エスケープってあったんで。
This game's mean, and that's really all that needs to be said.
Yeah.
Actually, and I have a little bit low agility, so I'm going to grab an extra encounter real quick here.
Yeah, because a lot of RPGs kind of factor in, you know, a percentage of misses within like their action economy. But this one, it seems like, you know, the misses seem to come plenty often.
A lot.
I'm sure as a speedrunner, they feel pretty brutal. Yeah.
Yep.
さっきも見たところでぐるぐるしてる。
Like I think it's like a 60% chance of working. I think that's what it is. It feels like 5%, like the vast majority of the time. Escape is either on fire or absolute trash, and it's absolute trash like 90% of the time you're doing this. And Magic Barrier is supposed to be like an 80% chance of landing, but boy howdy is it not.
So what would you say? As
途中で精霊の複製を行うみたいですが、バックアップですっ飛ばしている。そうですね。
Is it to pick up for someone, let's say age 13? Like
バックアップデータ使ってるので。
despite like the, you know, kind of innocuous look it has to it. Like, I mean, it's kind of got a lot going on under the hood.
If you have any concept for RPGs, it's not bad. If you have no concept for RPGs, you will have a bad time. That's it. As a kid, when I played this when I was younger, I never got past Call Hazard, which is like the next major dungeon, and also the second dungeon.
なんかひょう。
I never beat this game as a kid. I didn't beat this game until I was in college, and I like sat down for like a week straight and played this between classes and forced myself to beat it because I wanted to know what was past that area.
Yeah. Yeah, and so tell me, what basically a whole childhood built on this moment, and did Quest 64 deliver when you finally broke that threshold and saw the other side? Were you pleasantly surprised?
I mean, I enjoyed my time. I didn't hate it. But I mean, I was in college, and what year was that? That would have been my freshman year, my sophomore year. That would have been like 2005 or so. I didn't really have other games at the time, so yeah, I mean, I enjoyed my time. I think I was listening to Stone Temple Pilots while I was playing it. Oh, good old college. All right, so our agility's looking pretty good. We want to have 59 by the time we get to a certain spot in Call Hazard, so we can go out of bounds.
青の数値が入ったんでミス属性だと思うんですが。
Encounters at specific spots so that we can kind of get the most agility out of it as we can, but it's not really a big deal because we can grind extra agility if we need to. My pathing, the way I do it is I kind of expect to have extra chance to get agility. You could math it out and be like, oh, this is the perfect amount of thing, or like encounters at these spots that I need to get, and then this game will say no, which it does quite often. And by quite often I mean
見るからにボスっぽいですが、
because
普通の敵ですね。
hates you
普通に
doesn't
逃げられたんで。
and I don't know if I'm Stockholm syndrome at this point for this game, but I might be. At least for the speed run. The game is much better casually. Unfortunately, it's like how you get stats. There's no explanation anywhere. It's like, oh, just take a lot of hits, your HP and defense goes up. Like if they actually had any kind of like proper tutorial at the beginning of the game, it wouldn't be bad. That was like my if you know RPGs, this won't be too bad. But if you don't, you're just gonna die and not understand what's going on.
Yeah, that was actually one thing I was kind of noticing, is that, in just as a refresher for people in chat not familiar with maybe the game mechanics, what Bing has been doing for this past chunk of time outside of serenading us with the beauty
ない、どっちだったんだ結局。何だったんだ、青い丸のやつ。
this game go up by basically being used. So essentially, when you take damage, your defensive stat can go up. When you move, your agility stat can go up. So in order to grind like better stats, you have to actually like do these actions, and that's the process. So what he's doing right here is all as silly as it may look, or as frustrating as it may be.
水槽
Stop encounters or whatever. It is part of the getting his stat line to where it needs to be, because this is the manner of which you upgrade your stats, which is neat, right? Because if you
これ何の魔法だろ
wrong, I'm just gonna guess, but I imagine if you just wanted to, you could really grind like crazy stats, like in the first area or something, and just
Oh,
yeah.
the game.
If you have enough patience, you could absolutely just be overly powered really early, but you just need to have a lot of patience. Also, I zoom out here just so it lags less. I like saying it because it's the stupidest little thing. There's no reason for it to lag there, but N64 game and unoptimized. So if you zoom out, which fun fact you can by pressing L button in this game, zoom out, and also turn the camera in combat, it doesn't lag there. That's it. That's all I got. I got nothing else. It's a weird thing that happens.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Sorry, I did forget to mention, I turn the camera away from combat like 90% of the time, so the game lags less. I'm doing that by holding B. B turns the camera behind you. There's other ways to turn the camera, like what I said, in combat, if you tap L, it turns it like some percent. Like, I think if you click, I think it's whatever 1/6 of a circle is. Can't do the math right now. but because if you click L 6 times, it does a full circle around you. Oh boy. All right,
that's
so
actually what
we
I was gonna
are.
ask,
Sorry,
was-
go ahead.
Do you have like? I was gonna actually ask if those were like lag.
そこは右行きましたね。
I just realized like oh yeah, N64 is notorious for that. So like, are there other lag reduction strategies? Like, is that a big part of it, or are there
Oh, yes.
certain areas
Well-
that are worse than others?
There are certain areas that are worse than others, and that's actually one of the crashes is because of lag. There's certain spots and there's certain like we don't want to see a wolf goat. That's what it's called. Ugh. Wolf goat because they cast avalanche and they're avalanche lags. We don't
だ
want
いぶおしゃれなとこ来てる。
we actually will use the lag to our advantage if we were doing like a
周りがちょっ
category.
と、周りが水なんであれみたいですね。ゾーラ族の
I would be pointing the camera in certain directions on maps so that it would lag and it would be much easier for me to clone and I would get 5 or 6 if I was lucky. So it is used and abused in certain things, but generally you try to avoid it. But there's only so much you can do when the game's just like, you're lagging. Because there's certain corners or certain spots in the game where it doesn't matter what you're doing. The game is just like, you're gonna take 18 minutes to do this, and I don't care. Whew. All right, so we're making our way into Call Hazard and the very first out of bounds. Let's see what our agility looks like. It is 55. That is not good. That is not good at all. We have gotten bad encounters. 56 is like the minimum. We'll
こいつ多いところに丸太の木の橋がありましたね。丸太一本の。
extra out of bounds
なんでこんなとこにあるんでしょう
Call
ね。
Hazard, which is fine. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not the end of the world, is what it is. 56, 25. Well, yeah, we might get to 58. So yeah, I don't think I need to do anything aggressively extra other than grabbing an extra encounter in the out of bounds. Okay. Okay, yeah, and classic miss. It's just the way this game works, man.
Yeah, I'm blown away, man. I don't think I've seen misses that frequently in combat in a good while. It's like XCOM almost.
There's
I think
a
it's
reason
because the
that
game
there's-
itself
sorry.
is such a hit. The game itself is such a hit that they like had to find some balance. Everything else about it is immaculate. So
それだけはわからんのに地図がわからない。
I want it to be too perfect, I guess.
全貌が見えない。
True.
Clearly, that
There's
was on the
a
radar. Yeah.
あ、扉かなあれ。扉だ
there's
わ。
a reason there's a piece of art that I commissioned that is, if everyone remembers the Obama change poster, but it's Brian's face and it has Miss at the bottom instead. There's a good reason that exists.
That's actually beautiful.
All right, so we need to grab. We do want an encounter here, and these are Skelebats. If we reach that crash incentive, these are going to be
Bad.
bad trends for that. I won't
まんま
talk about that until later.
頭蓋骨にコウモリの翼が入ってる。コウモリ。コウモリでいいのかなこれ。
For Mutski to rattle off a few.
In a moment. Let me. Well, you could probably. Sorry, you could probably one if you got one. But I want to talk about the out of bounds when we get there.
Yeah, sure. I'll just do a quick one here. We got a $6 donation from Bari Tengineer, which just says, "Can't let the default win."
If you got another,
Then
go
I'll
for
read
it.
Okay, sure. I got $25 from Burr. It's cold. It says, "Quest is my first speedrun game, and Bing in the community has been very supportive. Can't wait to get to racing you, Bing. Go fast, and Quest is best."
Heck yeah! Thanks,
よ
Bert.
く出るな。
He's been one of the newer additions, and he's been great. He's good people.
一応時間帯的には昼のはずですよ。
That's-
この作品内の。
We all love a terrible game. I mean, a poorly rated game. I wouldn't say
Yeah, I
it's
just-
terrible. I
But眠くなってきた。
genuinely think it's a good game.
All 9 people who own a copy of this are like in chat with us right now. Like what an
Get out.
experience. Yeah.
娯楽に似たような。
If nothing else,
Mm.
I'm impressed with your resolve and college that you're the first person that's ever given up on a game and then actually went back to finish it later on. It didn't just sit on your shelf forever, just staring at you. So I'm impressed with your commitment to returning to to Quail Boy 64. It's pretty good.
Thank you. All right, so I need to interrupt. This is the out of bounds spot. So,
ワイバン。
because this game is polygons, we are going to stand and walk into a corner, and we are going to go out of bounds. I'm going to show you
強そうですね。
after that little explanation, and then really explain it. I'm out of bounds. If you blinked, you missed it.
降りた。
So, the way there's two different ways to go out of bounds. This is the battle arena clip. You create a very tight corner with your
普
character.
通に逃げ切りました。え
Move
何
this area. You actually walk. You don't do running.
すっごい綺麗に遡る。あ、武術じゃん。
You go into certain corners
ど
like
こ
that,
行くね。
and the game just pushes
坂
you out.
急に急速で登ったりしたらいつもに。
And we're gonna look at. I want everyone to tell me what do you think this
え
color is. And I'll say it after I hear everyone. So
こ
chat.
の時ファイナルソードで見たんだよ。タチオの空。
Yeah, I don't know, man. I get like maybe a sea foam, but I don't think I've really ever seen a shade like this before. And frankly, I'm impressed that this equipment is even capable of producing it. It's very, what an interesting.
そろそろ
piece of color.
かな
I don't know. It's like a mossy baby puke combo of some sort.
Yeah.
I know I was reading.
何この攻撃判定
Yeah, that was my. Yeah, that was it.
戦闘 エンカウントするんだこれ
little bit bluer. Man.
えー、
Guys crushing it. But yeah.
あ、武術より壁抜けですかねこれ
It's like a minute and a half.
Oh my gosh, yes.
we're
You know
just-
what? Sorry, but it's the color of like, you know,
でももうやってること武術だからな
this color in the pattern, right? You know what I'm
Oh
talking
god,
about?
you're killing me. My grandmother had a couch like this that she gave to me. It is this color. Oh, I forgot.
Dude, it was the color of that era.
Right? Oh man. We
が
are
だいぶ気になる
encounter, and we're gonna get another encounter near the end where we're specifically gonna do a big agility glitch, and then conveniently, and I'll just mention it now, when you're out of bounds, you can't get back in bounds without dying, casting exit if you're in a dungeon like this, or very, very super conveniently, dungeon exits and entrances, the hitbox for going out overlaps out of bounds a little bit so you can touch it and go back in. So we're gonna skip we went so Call Hazard's shaped kind of like a J, and we had to go around the bottom of the J, and we are now near the top. I'm gonna get
ごちゃくちゃくと進んでる
where am I? Up here. I was looking away. We're gonna grab an encounter up here for a lot of agility, and then we're gonna go back in. We'll be in Normoon and right up against the second boss. Ooh.
地面に足をつけ
So,
て
four of
ん
us tonight.
あ、また始まりましたね
2, 3, or 4, and 4 is just gonna give us the most MP from.
これはどこの戦闘判定踏んだかな
With all of them. Oh, we have 63 agility, which is actually
あ
perfect.
壁に近いところだったら入るのかな
Encounters with walk of out of bounds because it's kind of random how many encounters you get. I've had times where I've got no skelebats up to the out of bounds spot, and there's times where I've gotten like a bajillion encounters. It's it's a game of RNG. You're just basically rolling a
手で使いで風属性も使えるなら
numbers.
飛んでもおかしくないんじゃないかなと思いますがね
That's this game.
Normally. But based on my rolls, you think that's what my D20s look like, actually. So.
Yeah. So Normoon and shout outs to Gamma.
あ、
This
元
is
の
his
場所に戻れましたね
song, but this is his favorite. This is not the best music in the game, and anyone who thinks that is incorrect.
これは壁抜けじゃなくて畑かと思われます
So we're just gonna grab 3 spirits in the field, and we're gonna do probably the second most difficult glitch after Death Dupe, and this is called Fence Clip. Let's see if I get it.
テクスチャついた
Got it. Alright.
立体なんで多分
So now we're gonna go and fight Zell. but
一瞬気づかなかったと思うんですけど多分麦かなあれ
because of, our perfect death dupe that we totally got, we have more spirits than I normally would have. So I'm putting these in fire just in case we need to, need to go back and do some.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
小麦だと思うんですようんうん
I
小麦
I'm realizing that this is a marathon. Let me go save real quick, because even though we
さすがにこの世界観で米って厳しいなとは思いますが
This is, what's the word for it? He's he'll probably
Unpredictable?
kill me. No, I was gonna say words that I probably shouldn't say, and I'll just say he'll probably
Oh.
kill me instead. Um, yeah, it's just like if Magic Barrier doesn't play nice, we're gonna have a bad time.
鉄筋コントロールパーク。
We'll just make a quick save there.
セーブかな？
Fence clip. Was there really a fence there, or is that? Were you memeing on?
I don't
me?
know. What are you talking about? I didn't say anything.
Oh, yeah, because I was like, I really hung up on that. for
Here,
a
I'm just
minute
gonna
there, and-
show you something. Look at the bottom right corner of the screen real quick,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Moving
yeah,
on.
I didn't see it in the list. This community has incredible resources to learn this game. Shameless plug here. And as I was, browsing the resources, I couldn't help but notice Fence Clip was, for some reason, left off.
It's an unexplained, very difficult glitch. You just see it
Top
once,
tier
and
tech.
everyone knows how to do it.
Top
It's
tier tech.
it's a glorious glitch. Shoutouts to Kirkyu and Peaches for that.
突然
They
敵
taught me,
アラ
and,
ク
if anyone
アラ
has
クヌイド
just let me know. I'll teach you. It's tough, but once you get it, you got it.
Where else are you gonna get speed strats passed down through the ages? It's just really impeccable. I mean, it's a shame that it's
奥
Quest
か
64, at the end of the day, but no, in all seriousness, the cult-like fan base, makes you not like I can't help but not enjoy the speedrun experience because of how much you guys enjoy it, which is is wild to me.
I should mention that Quest 64 is my favorite game, tied with Morrowind.
言いますね。
And that doesn't speak to
だって
how I feel about
結構
this
体
game.
格細いですね。
The shoe
靴がでかいけど。
is incredible. Like, what are those kicks?
Yeah, Zelsa's stylist. So
Mm,
this is the first time
Ze-
you see Magic
mm.
Barrier Avalanche. Magic Barrier makes you immune to all magic spells. Bosses only have magic spells, so you're immune to bosses.
ゼルス、うん。
Magic Barrier doesn't miss. 2. Avalanche.
ああ、なるほど、ボス戦。
Avalanche is the strongest spell in the game for 2 reasons. The next highest base damage spell is that spell you just saw
何
him.
の踏んで攻撃するのかな、これ。
believe.
そ
Magic
敵は一応攻撃してましたが。
60 base damage, and that is a single rock. And you can hit enemies up to 7 times. So Avalanche is a little bit broken, I might say. Yeah, that's just the nature of this game. Also, we want him to do his mid-range attack, but it doesn't matter how much I practice this fight, he will just decide to do whatever the heck he wants. So theoretically, I want him to do that, and I've just been a little bit cautious by casting Magic Barrier, which is just silly. So
となく
I'm
ボ
going
ス
to
戦っ
do that,
ぽ
and
い
that's
よ
why I would have done it right
緊張感はありますが、あ、倒してない。
2,
Yeah, so-
3. All right, he should be dead. There he's dead. All right, cool. He only
It
has
is-
680 HP.
As someone without
Ah,
much
倒した。
familiarity, like
よかった
actually
よかった
playing casually or anything, I actually wasn't realizing
あのマリアみたいなのが非属性の精霊だったっぽい。
something that largely impacts like the abilities they might use or stuff to that degree.
Yes, actually. Not all enemies have multiple spells, but if they do, they have up to 3. A short range, a mid range, and a long
青い翼。
boss is the only boss that has them based on distance. He's also one of 2 bosses, I think, that has 3 spells.
あ、精霊複製。
Mammon are the
コ
only
ピー
two
したん
that
だ。
have 3 spells, Mammon being the final boss.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like this guy.
All of the bosses have 2.
Yeah.
And Zelsa is the only boss that has a
鉄
spell.
筋
you
コン
have.
トローラー。
All the other spells are boss exclusive.
ここもセーブ。
All right, now for my favorite part of this game, Toilet Town, which is what I call Larple. So if you notice, there's water down here, and we are going to flush Toilet Town by opening and closing this door twice. And now the toilet's been flushed, and we can go down into the sewer system, which is Blue Cave. And I should mention I hate Blue Cave, so you can imagine what I think about Blue Cave.
Yeah, we're back to the very interesting, like, I don't know if maybe they just had like a color wheel on the wall and they were just like hurling darts at it, but some of these areas have been like very uniquely colorized.
Right. So this is the second out of bounds and also probably the biggest. Blue Cave is a massive, massive, not massive, but massive for like an N64
広いな。
So we're going to go out of bounds at literally the beginning, which is the bottom left corner of the map, and we're going to want to go to the top center of the map. So I'm setting up for the out of bounds. There's these 3 dots. I'll just show them real quick. There's a dot here, there's a dot here, and there's a dot here. I stand right about here as a setup spot.
かな
That will allow me to walk
Ah,
to this corner, which
バリア張ってる
is
ってことは。
clip me out of bounds. But of course, it's making me look like a fool. It happens sometimes. I might not be... Oh, I'm definitely close. This should let me out. Come on. And I keep running. Let me out.
I
Or
just gotta
let me
imagine.
in, I guess.
I gotta imagine the
Come on.
enemy perspective as this is taking place. They're just like sitting down there, like,
What are you doing? Are you
yeah,
okay?
there's like, we're waiting, buddy. You come back down here, we're gonna let you have it.
Yeah, let me in. That's accurate to how I feel. Okay, this should maybe do it. Come on. All right, I have a weird amount of agility, so I may have made this more difficult for myself.
今、
I said
ピエンって
66, but I
気の
said
せい
67.
か。
I actually accidentally agility glitched an extra encounter.
この動き悪いことしてそうですね。
Readjust slightly. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Actually, not that bad. That's right. I have defense this time.
ああ、今の
Come on.
攻撃で割れた。
Come on. You can do it. Let me out.
あっとすいません。うん
Out.
These scorpions
Come
have
on.
been very patient with you.
Would it be cool to plug some donations while you're clipping out of
Struggling?
bounds
Yes, please.
here? Sure. All right. We got a couple people that want to shout you out here. We got
いや、
15
難しそうですね。
from The Pizza is Aggressive. $20 donation from The Jaded Mew. $10 from The Burning Hunter that says, here's $10 for the N64 RPG we all played and loved but got stuck on as kids. Thank you for the superb commentary and for raising money for such a great cause. Donation goes to the Crash Showcase. Let's show this game who's really a master mage. And that is referencing a Crash Showcase at the end of
えっと、
this.
バウンスって言ったから壁抜けなせた。ああ、うんうん。
So keep getting the donations in with that.
なるほど、儀式。
Get all 3 incentives met for this game. We got $25 with no comment from Nemo2342. Kurt Mack donated $25. It says 1/6 of a circle is either 60 degrees or pi over 3.
白いの、あ、悟りか。
Just the run.
Ah, that's what it
$10
is. Thank you. I
donation from
couldn't do math.
俺、坂道や壁を乗ってんのか。
donation from RP
あ、できましたね。よかったよかった。
That says Bing, Mutsky, and Palmer, a veritable dream team of great RPG speedrunners and friends. Love watching Bing play this. I miss a lot of good friends at RPG Limit Break this year, but having you 3 together in this run makes my heart happy. Good luck.
次どこかな。
Thank you.
Thank you,
And then
RP.
one last one. We got T Murdoch, who donated $25 to make it abundantly clear. It says Shiner said it was Baja Blast color.
あ、どこ歩いてんだろう。右上の羅針盤見る限り北の方に向かってるっていうのことしかわかりません。なんか見えたような。
Giving, exact hex colors.
あ、でも行き先見えたようですね。
I feel my teeth
So-
deteriorating anytime
飛んだ。
I hear
うん
about
うん
it mentioned.
I'm gonna be a big cheater here and just do this.
まだ行く。
So, fun fact with the N64 is I'm sure somebody has done once in their life they've accidentally just found out that the
コントローラー紹介してるみたいですけど。
turned it on.
操作して、
You
ん
hold the thumbstick while the game is booting. That's where it centers the thumbstick. You can reset that by pressing Start L and R at the same time. So I held down.
これでやってたのかな、どうなんだろう。
So that bottom was center. So now that it
これで操作してなかったらわかる、笑うよ。
stick up. So it's just a nice
操作してないふ。
We have like a minute and 30. This is the longest out of bounds run. And I would ask what color, but this is just deep blue.
I was gonna say like
なんか飲みましたね。
Ooh. Okay, my ankle's bad.
just throw some nonsense in there.
しっかり休憩をしていらっしゃいますね。
Extremely like 2 very conflicting ideas.
It's the darkest white color
White?
you've ever seen. Yeah.
That's the most uninspiring white shade you'd have imagined.
I should mention we're passing the blue maze to bottom, down and right from where I am. I wanted to be a little safe, so I took a little sharper of an angle than I usually would. So you probably saw some stuff in the bottom corner. That was blue maze, a portion of blue cave.
しれっと休憩。皆さんも水分
30 seconds.
なり、
So,
お手洗いなり休憩。随時取ってくださいね。
This game, let's see if you don't mind my asking.
一応イベント自体アーカイブも残るので、
Look here and get a little refresh. Fresh in
新タイメットソース 相談しながら
$100 away from
お楽しみください。
showcase at the end, so we are closing in on that. And then both of the fight bonuses in Fighting Fargo and Fighting Shilf, which will be coming up in the next hour, have both already been met, so we are all good to go on those. So if you're
Ooh,
getting
let's
some
go.
donations
Awesome.
in, make sure you dump them on the Crash Showcase at the
Solo
end. so we can see
debuchi.
some shenanigans. And, you know, if nothing else, I know you guys want as much quests.
すごいところで戦闘が始まる。
You know, if this run could never end, that would be the real
う
dream
ん
come true.
あ、このマップは迷路になってるから全部壁抜けで終わらせると。
I need everyone to say no fish sticks, because we don't want fish sticks. They're way too fast, and I won't get my agility glitch if there's any.
これが止まってるかなっぽいな。
So
戻った
I'm setting
あ、あ、まあ。
down here real quick. This
あ、よかったよか
this
った。解決で
transition
す。
will move the boat from in the middle of the lake to the Isle of Skye, which is the next area where Nepti is. And I saved,
you-
right?
ドラゴン、なんだろう。
Which guy? I didn't know. I just ran past him.
Oh, I thought you just hit that dude on the head with your stick.
Oh, that was a chest for an item.
Oh, I thought it was. I was like, dang, man. You take some prisoners out here.
I'm just showing him who's boss. So we don't want a
Yeah.
fish stick. They're too fast. They have 75 agility. I have 71. And
Okay,
hopefully we
no?
get literally anything else. And I will take the time to get an encounter because if we
全然看板や NPC との会話がないから、ここどこなのみたいな感じ。
And wow, this of course I don't get an encounter.
また儀式やりそうですね、この挙動。
Have fun. So the game is like, you don't want a fish stick? Fine, you won't get anything. This is oh, and there he is. Speak of the devil, Grangok, or fish stick, quite literally a fish on a stick.
Oh.
I don't care that they call him a Grangok. They're wrong. It's a fish stick. Unfortunately, got him. So we're gonna be slow.
Like, clearly a translation issue because
Yeah.
no one would miss an opportunity that much of a softball. You know what I mean? That's just
Right.
ワープした
Swing and a miss. All right. So this is Nepti. Nepti is the worst boss just because her hitbox is the smallest. So she's terrible. And that's about it. We're going to try to set in a
これもボス戦かな
The way Avalanche casts, it's completely random.
Nepti,
I don't
ボス戦。
care
うん
for
うん。
every angle. It just makes me feel good, but it doesn't matter. The way Avalanche casts, oh, actually hit her twice even. She has 880, so she's gonna take I can do math. 5 hits.
アバランチなんで、岩なだれですかね。
Kind of in the middle of the two concentric circles where. Oh, that was almost really good. The two concentric circles where Avalanche can drop in between. And I'm just going to risk it. Come on. That was an excellent Nepti fight.
あ、倒しましたね。
Usually that fight goes horribly. There is a clip somewhere where I killed her in one Avalanche cast. That was the biggest goal of my life.
so far.
But yeah,
you've
man,
just
that was a
been-
good fight.
Brian has just been making his way through these magical areas, you know, beating the snot out of what appear to be Keebler elves. You know, everybody's got like, you know, some very elf-like attire. And,
Right.
うん、今の塩っぽいような気がします。そう。そういうもんだとみたいな。
Why is he so mad at these people?
Okay, I'll give you a little
Just a
insight
taste,
to the
just a
story.
taste.
Just to, yeah, this will cover about 90% of the game. So there's 4 bosses that stole a gem. They're all thieves and some are murderers. They stole a gem. Somebody from one area or another says,
Okay,
"Hey,
見えません、見えません。
lady or guy or whatever stole the gem. I need you
拾
to
っ
get it back."
た。
You get it back, and they say, "Oh, great, you keep it," and that's 90% of the story. I'm not kidding either. That's genuinely like 90% of the story.
Yeah,
入り組んでる。
you know, I remember you guys mentioning when you were doing the, you know, the quest run we discussed earlier at the previous limit break that the story was a little bit more I guess finished,
Fleshed out.
done. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
There is a story.
Okay. Yeah,
Brian
yeah.
talks.
So how much like is that something that as you play this game, it feels like, oh man, they just didn't finish it, or it's just like, oh, it's just bad, they didn't know what they were doing? Like, what's your take on why the story ended up this way? Was it like you mentioned the
Oh,
development circumstances, or just just got
It's
shipped too
super
soon?
unfinished. It's not even that it got shipped too soon. It was
ような
it was
敵がいた
stacked
ような。
and pushed out for what they had.
どっちかというと、ミラクルマタを
Somewhat
粉々にしたような。
was released considering they were
それとも脈々
shit for this
かな
development. And like they
Miracle's
they
a
brought in a
strong
guy.
word.
Well, I mean, a miracle that the game came out. Let's put it that way.
For sure, for sure.
この魔法陣っぽいのはワープ系のやつかな
Day-night cycle was supposed to matter. Brian was supposed to be like a knight, not a child. You know, there's a whole lot of stuff that there's more spells, you know, pick your poison. There's a whole lot of stuff, but you know, unfortunately they ran out of time and all that. All right. So I should mention why I saved in the hut that we're about to port into, which is Epona and
行
Chappie.
ったり来たりが多いね。
Exit glitch or Chexit. Colin discovered this in a race with me, actually, which was very convenient. Thank you, Colin. But we call it Chexit. You save it, Chappie, and the way this game works with exit is the exit spot. Well, exit, like if you're in a dungeon, you cast the exit, it takes you to whatever your exit spot is set to. It turns out, stepping out, if you save at that inn and you step out of there, your exit spot doesn't get reset.
ちょっと待ち。
So you can just cast exit, and wherever your exit spot is, the game will teleport you to, including into Mammon's world, where you're not supposed to be able to do that. So it's a huge, nice safety thing. I actually used it. I think I used it in my world record run because there's an enemy called Pinhead who will kill you if it shows up. Yeah, you're just gonna die. You have
これもセーブ
God, in
系の
normal
敵かな
without training, you have like
いや違う、味方。あ、レッドギュール NPC か。
HP, give or
ん
take
なんか、
about 140.
あ
And Pinhead
今の
has
囲い
fireball three and does
で
about
ワープできるのかな
and he's also faster than you. And also he casts Fireball 3 from within your skull. So you can't even like dodge it like the way the game allows you to dodge spells by running around. You pretty much get Fireball 3 shotgun to your face and you die. And the run's over. With Chexit, you can just go, well, I lost 30 seconds, heal up, and then exit back, which is super nice for this category, considering like if I get past Death Dupe, the vast majority of runs that make it past any like the luck in the middle die to a pinhead.
対4がちょっとずるいですね。
Counter combinations in Maymon's world include a pinhead. And they are the second fastest enemy in
そ
the
れにしても多いな
game,
敵。
Mammon, the final boss. So that's nice.
So does the like what are the set of enemies tied to? Is it like per zone? Like is it a
Zone.
loading thing?
Zone,
Okay.
it's zone and in certain areas zones within the zone. So like in the first map, before we got to the first spirit, the very first like corner, you can only get
あ、船乗っ
werewolves and
た。
hellhounds. But once you get around that turn, Parassault and Bumbershoot is an encounter that you can get. Oh, also I'm gonna try to show off a glitch.
一回扉変え、
here if we get the right encounter. We didn't.
入ってマップ情報変えたら、もう
Also, Big Mouth.
あ、割とすぐつくんかな。
So there's like certain areas where you can get different encounters. Like there's a separate area in here where you can get different encounters. If we get a scarecrow, I'm gonna.
フリー、あ、
There is an
Yeah.
old style of out of bounds called the compression out of bounds, which uses the spell
Okay.
compression, surprisingly enough, to get you out of bounds. So how compression works is it reduces the enemy's attack and also shrinks their model size. So you stand between that enemy wall, and when they go back to normal size, N64 logic, you get pushed out of bounds.
うーん、
It's super convenient and how we used to do the out of bounds, but it's a lot more RNG mess than you setting up your own corner. Because you have to hope for the right encounter, you gotta walk them into position, you know, RNG stuff that's tedious and takes time. Whereas If I
こ
have
れ
to
は
random
壁
out
抜
the
けの
little spot, I need to
準備
stand
じゃない
be out of
ね。
bounds and be out of bounds
普通に進んでるから。
So battle arena clip is the way to go, but sometimes like this
あ、
one there isn't a
なん
battle
か見た
arena
ことないの
clip
が来まし
we've
た
been
ね。
able to find. Or yeah, just there's been no spot we've been able to find. So I will be doing an out of bounds off these guys in a moment, but not here because I need to do it on the right wall, not the left wall. Those
Yeah, the
guys
enemies-
are big oafish doofuses.
いや、ワイバーでかいけ
Really easy to
ど、
manipulate because they move really far. They're big.
まあ出番ないってことで。
I was
Sorry,
about to
go
say,
ahead.
It's been crazy to see these character models have gotten like progressively scary. You know, these monsters. It's like these little turtles weren't too bad, but then like the large fish guy and then the floating dragons. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Man, this is the world's most dangerous park, dude. What is going on here?
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get the wyvern. I want to show the compression out of bounds. So if we get a wyvern, I'm gonna
何
do
すん
it
のかな。
not worthwhile. So we're going to, we're just gonna make this one disappear. He's dead. So wyverns are pretty easy to
ここを普
manipulate.
通に倒すの
He
か
can
な。
cast Fireball too, which you can run straight at him and dodge, or he casts Fire Pillar, which if he runs up to you, oh good, he shrunk. All right, so I need him to come closer. He's probably not going to come close enough because that's just the way this game works. I'm just gonna. That actually hit, man. You guys are getting like the best of this. Compression is such a
And a
mean
miss.
missing
あ、
spell.
攻撃下がってやるって
Yeah.
言ってる。
Compression usually misses a bunch. Like you didn't see it off screen, but you can hear how miss sounds. Okay, so that's what compression out of bounds looks like. He went big size, now I'm out of bounds. That's it. Just hit him
Incredible.
with that spell.
あ、やりました。うんうん。
And so the glitch to get in bounds, so
あ、またやってる。
is a door. You notice that, or if you remember, I mentioned earlier that you can't, or you can hit exit a dungeon entrance.
いや、こんな、スーって綺麗に登る
Don't. So you
坂道が。
get a door from out
なん
of
か、
bounds. So
なんかバレちゃう。
surprisingly and somehow incredibly conveniently, there is this path which I've dubbed
潜ったり現れたり。
back. Yes, I'm great. I've dubbed the Bing Walk.
なんか壁抜けをじゃというより壁を走ってるみたいな。
Incredibly convenient that you do because you can't get to this door otherwise.
How
All
do
right,
you
fair
come up
control.
with something like that though? You just run around out of bounds until you get back
Oh,
in. Like how many
Yeah, pretty much.
how many
I
hours
looked
do you
at the
think
corner.
no, it took you?
とりあえずアイテムを回収。
To find that, like 15 minutes.
Okay.
I was out of bounds. Was like, I know I can get out of bounds here. I wonder if I can get back in bounds. And I was looking around, like close to the door, and I was like,
うーん。
this looks kind of like the corners we would go out of bounds on. I wonder if I can clip back in. I got turned around there. If I can get clipped back in, and I was just like, I'll run into it, and it clipped me back in immediately, and I went, oh, this is perfect. That is so incredibly accidentally convenient.
Yeah, the definition
silly.
of we take those.
Yeah, right. And so the out of bounds here is one of two out of bounds that does not require an encounter. The other one is
ここまで来るとだいぶ見たことない敵が結構来ますね。
reach the incentive. This one was well, I'll tell you what the other one is. It's in Biges's or Bogus's or how I don't know how to say his name. How do you pronounce B-E-I-G-E or B-E-I-G-I-S? Bigus? Man, I don't know. Somebody tell me. But in his room, there are two pillars on either side of him, and one of the pillars has a corner that you can just walk into and clip you out of bounds. So that was how we eventually discovered the battle arena clip. Bagus, yeah, that's what I thought too, but I don't know. But conveniently enough, there's another one of those corners right in this next little area so that we can just walk out of bounds. We don't have to use an encounter. We don't have to battle arena clip. We could just walk into a corner, go out of bounds. I love it. This is my favorite because it's just them forgetting that this corner existed and didn't think about it.
かわいい。
And obviously, development heck they were in and all that stuff, so they didn't get the QA as much.
ビデオリウィスプ。
Which is unfortunate. So you don't have to. Ah, come on, it's not that bad. But yeah, this corner right here. So we can just walk into this corner, and I'll wiggle back and forth a little bit, and I'm out of bounds. It's so good. We're just out. Great. Now we can skip the
ま
rest,
たやってる
or not. Oh, I wish. The rest of this dungeon. So tell me, what color do you think this is? Is it pitch black? Because, yeah, also a little red maybe.
どこ
Yeah, it does have a it does have a shade of red to it.
But-
yeah,
I think that's just because of my N64. So
yeah, it
I
very
was
well
lucky
could be,
enough
yeah.
Mm.
I was lucky enough to get a HDMI modded N64, which is what I'm using. So some of the colors aren't.
ああ、入り組んでるとこ
And
ろ。
I think this is actually because of the HDMI mod. Because when I played it not on that, I remember this being fully black with no redness at all. So I think the colors are a little bit off, but not like significantly so. So this out of bounds, there is a very specific setup to get back inbounds. I'm going to run east. Oh, and I should mention, compass is your best friend out of
East.
bounds. Otherwise,
今、東の方向向かってる
compass
や
is
つ
your。best friend inbounds because you'll be lost. We're gonna run Brian until I hit a wall like this, and I'm gonna use Brian's dust cloud running northeast until it lets me run actual northeast. So you notice he starts with his dust cloud. Now I'm running northeast. I turn northeast. I go a little bit. I turn southeast. It's gonna hit me in a wall. It's gonna turn me eastward, and then it's gonna drop in 3, 2, 1, and drop. Perfect.
Yeah.
おお。
Yep.
Yeah, how much of
I
this?
think I've gotten that
this-
right like 3 times ever.
3, 2, 1、パーフェクト。
How much of this compass in the corner do you actually use? Like, is that something you really?
Oh.
まだ壁抜け続く。
Yeah, I have to
Constantly.
imagine it gets used a lot with this. I mean, you're pretty
Out-
much just
out of
running in the
bounds?
dark.
Yes, out of bounds. It's like I look at it and I set up my angles. Like for the blue cave, it's like the perfect angle is like if I were to describe it in like a north northeast whatever kind of thing, it would probably be like north northeast angle, I believe, about to run directly to the end. But yeah, no. Even when I'm inbounds, because the game likes to turn you around with combat. Even inbounds, I'm generally constantly like I have an eye on the compass, even though I have these maps memorized because I've played the game so much. It's
いや
still
壁抜け動作が長くて、なんか話すことがなくなってきて、本当に申し訳ない。
I just want to say thank goodness for the technology and the accessibility that we have for speed running and recording runs and stuff like this. Because could you imagine like early 2000s trying to explain this route to like someone on a
Yeah,
message board
God.
over text? You know, it would be in a
Everything but
forum
death dupe.
post. Yeah, it would be brutal.
So that's Jilf. We're not gonna fight her yet. If we fought her from
I-
out of bounds, we'd die. You can't get close enough to her to actually hit her. So we're actually gonna save and enter backwards into the fight because we can die to her. She's
あ、
not
出口ですね。
kill, but
Oh.
you know, you can skip
出
her.
口の判定を踏んだ。お、これで壁抜け解除と同時にできる。うんうん。
Yeah, normally you just straight up skip her. You just
本来だとシレフというボスがいる。
uh,
んスキップしたんかな
is confused why she never sees Brian. All right, so we're gonna drop down in here and go.
あ、いかにも砂漠っぽいステージですね。
That doesn't have one of the early bosses that doesn't have a gem, and this is where you actually get some actual like big picture lore. She's like, "Hey, I'm a servant of Mammon," and you're like, "Who's Mammon? I've not heard that name yet." There's somebody evil and big bad. So this is like the first hint that there's something bigger going on, and pretty much the only hint. So yeah, this is why this fight's funny. She's talking to not you, and Brian's just standing in the background. I'm over.
おシレフかな
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Um,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you just kind of
やっほ魔物のしもべですみたいな。
Was she kind of Jessica Rabbity, right? Like that's.
yes, she is. She's definitely a fan
character.
favorite.
あ、逆走でこう。うんうん。
Very similarly. Her hair is crazy to me. And see, like these are the kind of enemy models and stuff that you can only have seen on the N64. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't have, you weren't gonna see these,
Rats.
you know, these types of enemies on the early placing
岩なだれ。
are too different. The geometry, the polygons, all that. How much of the actual maze
この魔法の効
Haven't done-
果がわかる。
Sorry, go ahead.
how much of the maze aspect of like the
このオーラは攻撃力が来てんの
in
か
a casual experience
Mm.
like plays an impact? Like is navigating the terrain
倒した。
just as difficult as the fight itself if you were playing it casually in some of these boss fights?
I mean, if you play it casually, you probably grind it a lot more, so not really. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
It might be annoying to get to the boss, but once you're up to the boss, like, it's just completely irrelevant. So yeah, that was Shilf. She played nice and got hit 4 times. She has 1000 HP.
アイテム回収した。
last time at GDQ when I
辛い要件はもう終わっ
so you know
今の建物様子見なのかな
it's just what she decides to do. Also, since I saved at the tent, I don't have Chegsit anymore, which is unfortunate. I did not mean to do that. I forgot. Whoops. Oh well.
That's a pretty cool looking enemy too.
Yep, that's a werecat. So there's a werehare and a werecat, and those are the only were enemies in this game.
So there's clearly
Also
some
art
kind of
game.
like were-based plight going on in this universe, but apparently it's limited to just those 2 species.
Right? No werebear, no werewolf.
Yeah, yeah.
Werecat,
it's
werehare. That's it.
very
Bizarre.
selective illness. Yeah.
出口付近にいるボス、出口から回ってきてたとか。ええ
Despite what they think, it's not hot fire.
それはそれで新しい。
If you kill them, they drop mint leaves. That's kind of that is a squid to pig joke. Shout outs to him. He found almost all of the glitches in this game. Initiative
Pour one
glitch
out,
was
man.
known.
What a lad.
Yeah.
Poor
that
guy.
that dude is a wizard.
Poor guy. My goodness.
Initiative glitch was known. He found cloning out of bounds death dupe. I found agility glitch by accident. He was on the trail of finding agility glitch, but I ended up figuring it out before he did, which is just because I was playing the game more at the time.
建
And
物は割と充実してるっぽい。
Chegsit. So yeah, he broke the game, and then we found some minor stuff that broke it a little more.
So
Like,
on
we're-
the horizon,
sorry, go ahead.
you know, is there potential? Like, how much stuff exists in the game you guys know about now that's not necessarily implemented because it's not useful in a run? Like, is there, you know, still
Nothing.
maybe potential in the shell, you think? Or do you guys think you've pretty
Oh,
much
there's-
fleshed it out?
There's absolutely potential for stuff, but it's I still think there's going to be a menu glitch of some kind. I've been unable to produce anything, but I am I'm an idiot when it comes to finding glitches. Anything I've ever found glitch-wise has been
いや
entirely
マ
by
グマ
accident.
のエリアかな。
So I'll probably never find it. But there's so like right now, if you look at the menu, the R menu, when I go through items, it's kind of slow. But there's a, if I do it right, which I'm not doing it, there's a fast scroll.
アイテム登録かな
There's a fast scroll if you time it right, where it's like
確認かな
you press the
ま
button,
マンボウ
a frame apart. It moves much faster. I don't have much in my inventory, so it's actually not that good, which is bad. I forgot to pick up some items, but that's besides the point.
パリ火山ですよね。
There is a bug in the start menu that doesn't do anything useful yet. And then there's like crashes, but like there's not a whole lot. Most of what we can use is you know, used. All right. So this is the other out of bounds, which because of the nature of where encounters can happen in the spot. Are you kidding me? You could slide, so you can slide Brian when you end your turn so that you end out of the arena, but the encounter doesn't actually end.
あ、置いて
I
る。
had to use that to go out of bounds, and then someone reminded me, Scully, thank you, that boots exist, which make your movement arena, excuse me, much bigger, and allows you to set this out of bounds up really, really easily. And I felt incredibly dumb that I hadn't even considered it. And Scully's like, "Oh, you should use boots," and I go, "Oh, you're really, oh man, I need to lay down or something." Just, why didn't I consider that? But thank you, it's great. It makes this really easy. Hey, look, I'm out of bounds.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
it makes that
sometimes
out of
when
bounds so easy.
In speedrunning, sometimes it's so important to have like a separate set of eyes, just somebody can take a look at it and be like, oh yeah, what about this? And you're like, man, I've been looking at this game for so long that like some of those things I don't know, it almost starts to get blurry. Yeah, right. Things start to blur together. So yeah, it can be so important to have just even a second person in the speedrun community can make a huge difference in terms of, just how figure that kind of stuff out. Which another challenge to the chat being
それっぽいですね。
can come and find some glitches.
Oh, yes.
エスケープがだいぶ悪さできる。
Anything with inventory, if you can find that would be cool. The big glitches that I want, something with MP gain. Give me infinite MP. Give me faster MP grinding, defense, or HP. Make me invulnerable. And also.
モンスター知ってるのかなこれ。さっきオートですっていうの見せたんですけど。
It is what it is. But like, if you guys find anything, I will happily give you crisp high fives and I don't know. I'll send you pizza.
Yeah, so very reasonable.
飲んでる。
Do is figure out how to become invincible and have full MP all the time. And so if you guys flesh that out, that would be sweet.
Yeah, but if anyone wants to
very
book,
accessible.
Fortunately, with the mad rush of people that have already sniped copies of this off eBay in the last hour and a half, I imagine someone is just inevitably going to stumble upon some of your requests.
God,
Real quick, we got a
$25
anonymous donation, and I just want to plug one more time the incentive for the Crash Showcase at the end. We are just a little over $100 away from that, so if someone wants to come in and be the hero that would, parallel that of Brian with that last $100 or so towards the Crash Showcase, so we can wrap up all the incentives for quests, make sure you get those in the next 30 or 40 minutes as we're starting to approach the final run of, or final stretch of this run, rather.
So that's Fargo. We're gonna fight Fargo. And I'm not gonna explain it. I'm just gonna have you guys watch it and just appreciate it. Because I think you guys will appreciate this fight as much as I do.
Fargo.
Didn't quite hit him.
すごいところで戦ってますね。当たってないですよね、どう考えても。当たってない。ずるくないですか？
So has anyone figured out why this fight is fun yet?
What are you talking about? This is how everybody does it.
ちょっとそれはずるくないですか？ジャックさん？
I love this fight.
完全に安全地帯ですね。
Bring magic like rarely.
安全地帯。
I didn't feel like using an MP item. Yeah, so you can he can't hit you. Sometimes he'll do his long range attack.
ある人が多いですね。
But if you stay in the right spot, he'll generally do a short range attack and he can't hit you. So you just kind of stand here and laugh at him mockingly. And then
ちょうど範囲から外れてんだよ。
it's funny because he calls you an idiot. He says, "Hey, hello, idiot." I think is his text in the if you play the French version, it's "Bienvenue, idiot."
Yeah, classy.
Which is even better.
Yeah, that's got a level of spice to it for sure.
ただ、なだれは1個しか当たってない。
I do actually want him to hit me with his long range. Bonk. Because I don't feel like using an MP item. Oh, come on.
MP で大丈夫でしょうか、これ。
That should do
あ、
it.
回復した。
Boom.
あ、倒しましたね。
So if anyone ever wants to task this game, RNG is
こんなんでいいんでしょうか。
a task actually wouldn't be too bad. In all honesty.
今勝ったからいいんじゃないでしょうか。
It starts on the same seed
Yep.
every
Same
time.
RNG seed.
Yeah, that's.
えー
I've never heard of that before. That's incredible.
Yeah, the only problem is that if you play it on an emulator, it lags differently than console. That is
ギ
the
リギリ
only
地形に
problem.
戻らない範囲で歩いてる。
But there's already shout outs to Landmine 36 who made a theory task of this, and what was the oh man, I don't remember exactly what the time was, but it was crazy. And it wasn't like a perfectly optimized task either. It was just kind of like a theory together, and it's really impressive. And he even did he did an out of bounds in a spot that we could do, but isn't really worth doing for us because we have to do compression. But if a task does it really quickly, then nice.
Was that task made in the Death Dupe era? So was that like incorporated into?
No, it was it was within like the last year or two.
Oh, okay, awesome.
だから、とりあえずアイテムは回収。
That's challenge number 3, folks. Make
必要
it
だから取ったかなって感じ。まだある？ある。
To better what is this magnificent piece of art. This is your chance. If it sounds like we really want people to run this game, it's because we do. Please.
Yes, please.
Runners.
アイテム回収だけでしたね。
Please. I don't want to be alone anymore.
Please shoulder this burden. Set me free.
Shiner, I see you said this is the best song. Second best song. Actually, third best song. Brannock Castle is 2, and Mammon Fight is numero uno, but yeah. Alright, I'm just gonna quickly reset my return point here and do some return cloning, even though it's incredibly gratuitous with the amount of spirits that I have.
はい、すぐです。回収しそびれた。
More of it because it looks cool.
Yeah, so you're not really supposed to get 4 spirits a go, right? It's just
they're supposed to be one. Yeah. So I generally get 4s because I've been doing this for a long time, and I have my mashing kind of way down. I've gotten 6s. Getting a 6 is frame perfect inputs because I think you have 1 extra maybe frame of inputs that you can do for
なん
that.
か見ますね。
6s are rare. I think I've gotten 6 ever.
リスポーンポイントを設置して、リターンを使って、複製。うんうん。
But I think most people when they start learning the cloning, they get 2 or 3. But that's just you got to figure out how to mash for yourself. The way I do it is I basically create it like gussing my fingers down at the same time, and then I just tilt the controller so that I'm pressing them one frame apart. So I hold the controller like this and mash like it's a flat board. It works for me.
Yeah, earlier Mutsky mentioned that he was impressed you got back to this game, in college years later. And I'm impressed you found a controller for the system that worked at that point in time. Because I have
で、どこかな？
N64 controllers that I
これは地形？壁どっちだ？ あ、普通に地形だった。
Yeah.
すごい方向で歩いてますね。
One quick thing. There's encounters here. If you run along the left wall, there aren't encounters here.
なんか C 家族みたいなマークがついてますが。
You might be an expert then with your experience in this.
看板に。
Solution to keeping your N64 controllers from the stick getting beat up or something. How do you
Okay, I'll tell you my secret is I bought a steel stick.
Oh, okay, that's
普通の坂道。
Yeah, I was asking
I got-
mostly for myself
I got super-
because
Yeah, I got super lucky and what's the dude's name? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name. He was in the line for one but didn't want it, so he gave his spot, and he was like, anyone on Twitter that I know, do you want this? And I was the first person to say, yeah. So I got lucky.
なんかおる。
No, it doesn't make any advantage whatsoever. In
Banned.
fact, I also yeah, right. If it did, maybe. I also learned to speedrun Mystical Ninja Star and Goemon, and I can't use the thumbstick because of one of the glitches in that game. Requires a 1 frame flick input.
ボスではなか
The
ったと。
steel stick is so heavy that it wobbles for a bit if you try to flick it quickly.
yeah.
So it just doesn't work.
So is there
So
any
it's
way
nice
to,
for slow, but
What,
Sorry?
so is there I know it's Quest 64, so it's probably asking a lot, but this game never get the
こんな感じがしますね。戦闘始まってバグ技。
or something like that, where you, I guess not,
It's
right?
on the N64. It's on the N64, and that's it.
Wow. So okay, spitball with me here. Hypothetically, you know, the miniaturized consoles that have become popular as of late. What are the chances Quest 64
None.
pioneers the mini N64? Could you imagine how
Literally
awful
none.
a mini N64 controller would be? It would be so terrible.
They would have to not do the standard
Yeah, it's
N64
something.
controller.
It's
Like they
something would have
just
to
can't.
change.
All right, so I don't have as much
Red
MP as I
Rose
want on
Knight.
21, so I'm gonna stand here and waste a little bit of time doing this. If it was on N64 online, believe me, I will have a video out to everyone.
普通に戦うのかな。
Here's how much the game is different. Because it's gonna be different. It's gonna play different. It probably won't lag the same. It probably will run
裏
like
陸上はマップが細切れになったので
even on
壁抜けはできそうにない。
is
うんうん。
kinda iffy.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
There we
As
go.
opposed to the console original hardware version, where the game is not iffy in any way, shape,
Actually,
or form.
All things considered, this game runs
ここから
pretty
チクチ
well
ク
on
殴ってましたね。
N64. Like, even the spots that lag generally aren't too bad, and they're in towns. Like, yeah, whatever. It's in a town.
I mean-
it's not you're looking. You're not like actively having to interact with stuff. You can just kind of, it's a little slower, whatever.
Yeah, compared to something like GoldenEye immediately comes to mind.
Right.
I remember way more significant lag in areas where there was like multiple enemies or multiple enemies attacking you or whatever. So largely through this, obviously combat is instanced, so that kind of reduces that to a degree. But yeah, so far it hasn't been crazy laggy. Well, it introduces its own lag, its own special combat.
Yeah,
lag.
4+ enemies.
Yeah,
That's when it
exactly.
struggles.
Yeah.
There's a couple encounters that are 6 enemies, and those don't run well at all. Yeah,
So
imagine
what's
you're still around. They actually make like kids games now or something. What were you saying? Sorry.
I was just gonna say, in the the Game Boy version you referenced earlier, is the progression of the route the same, or I know obviously you're running out of bounds and stuff like that, but in this specific category, does it change like the order of how you visit plot points, or is that ultimately still kind of the same linear shape?
It's mostly the same. So a different company made the Game Boy game, so they reorganized where stuff was and added bosses and cutscenes and stuff. So it's basically the same story, but with more lore along the way. And a boss moved around here or there. This is Guilty. I hate Guilty. I'm going to try to stay in this particular spot. So I didn't talk about this earlier, but there are
ギルティ
grid lines on maps where Avalanche is more likely to drop. He stands in the exact center of the map.
ボス戦。
On
う
a
ん。
perfect grid line. If I stand
あ、
on
名前合ってた。ギルテ
he
ィ。
won't move, and I'll be in the exact perfect spot to drop Avalanche on him. More likely to drop Avalanche on him, which is super convenient because this boss takes half damage. Him and Mammon have the neutral element, or, well, in this case, no element because they forgot to program it, but no element, so he takes half damage from all spells.
バリアでしのぎながら普通に殴っていくと。
4, 5, 6.
いや、MP がちょっと
Guys,
Cool.
classic, forgot to program
ちょっと心苦しい。
that classic bit.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna get hit here. This is gonna be sketchy. I don't want to move. Oh, I don't have enough MP items. That's not good. Okay.
あ、MP 回復アイテムで。うんうん。あ、だいぶ体力持ってかれましたね。大丈夫かしら。
Got this. Not even
7,
worried.
8. I mean, I'm a little worried.
Not even
What did I
worried.
say?
We got this.
バリア、なだれ。うん。バリア状態残しつつも攻撃できるのっていいですね。
Those misses had me scared there for a second.
$14.
だいぶ MP 持ってかれやすいですね、この戦法。
2 more hits. Assume I can count.
体力が多いこと。
One more hit. He's dead. Boom. And
All
Palmer, you had way
right.
more confidence than I did.
Yeah, I
勝ちました、よかっ
was
た。
not even worried, not in the slightest. You know, I was gonna ask about MP items, though. You mentioned that. Like, what's the economy like in this game? Because is this something you can shop for? Is that like either hard to come by?
No.
What's
Economy. Good joke. So there are givers in towns that will give you an item if you do not have one.
1800。
Monsters will drop an item if you don't
そ
have
りゃ
one.
多いわ。
Otherwise, you get all your items from chests, and I've forgotten to grab a couple chests, so we are low on MP items. Thankfully, that was a 2 MP item guilty fight, which is fantastic. I'm probably going to have to do a confusion strat on Mammon, which isn't too bad, especially since we have way more HP and defense than we normally would. Confusion is just a spell where you the amount of damage you take is the amount of MP you get back. We are going to get 1, 2, 3 more additional MP items, so we're not in a bad spot-ish, depending on how Bogus is. I call him Bogus because
B ポーションかな。
I mean I think you can suss that one out.
Can you elaborate a little bit on Magic Barrier? So it seems like it lasts like just 2 turns, or does it withstand a certain amount of damage? What's that? How's that work?
Oh, it's 2 turns, or it can last 3 turns. It's a percent, so it always lasts. So you cast it, it lasts that turn. You cast another spell, it lasts that turn 100% of the time. The next turn you can get a 10% chance for it to last again, and then it doesn't last after that, or you cast it again. So for us, it's Magic Barrier, Avalanche, Magic Barrier, Avalanche, rinse, repeat, and then MP item when I need to. So it's generally it's only 2 turns that you get Magic Barrier, and it is complete invulnerability to magic. If an enemy had a melee attack, then Magic Barrier would be worthless. There's a handful of enemies that do have melee attacks, but they're not bosses, so
いや、だいぶうろついてますね。
full
Just gonna say, right?
invulnerability
They're all
to
magic.
bosses. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right?
That's wild.
でもなんだろう。
What about you mentioned Magic Barrier
Go
being
ahead.
different in the other game? Does that what's the difference now? Having explained that,
It's trash.
oh, it just doesn't work very well. Okay.
It's like it is a 10% chance of landing, and it doesn't block all spells or something. I don't know. I tried to use it once. It's like this is worthless, and just grind defense instead. Like there's no reason to use it in the Game Boy game. It's absolutely atrocious. They knew it was too powerful.
レオナルド。
So
they came
remember
for
when
it.
I said I was going to tell you guys the lore? All right, here's the lore. So. The Eltail book, an all-powerful book that holds the secret of the spirits, was stolen from the monastery where we grew up a month ago. Our dad, a great spirit tamer, that's what the wizard is called in this game, went after the book. Our dad's been gone for a month. The Grand Abbot had a dream and sent us, his 10-year-old boy, after him. We're going to get our father and get the Eltail book back. That's it. That's the lore.
How good is this book? Like, it better be like a.
It's all-powerful. Also, this is a glitch. I'm a chest, so this is now chest.
どうかして。え、何
Yeah.
えー、
See it.
Eh?
No, for whatever reason,
あら
the hitbox of this thing like kind of extends over the back so you can clip into it, which is nice. Also, bye, Dad.
どうしたのかなこれ。
So we just
ほっとくんかい。
Yeah, he's not very useful in that. That's
Eh.
for sure.
Also, his name's wrong, so they call him Bartholomew everywhere else. But if you talk to him, his name's just Bart. So yeah, hi, bye, Dad. Cause you know, whatever. He's just there suffering, and you're just like, all right, see ya. So you'd spend the whole time trying to catch your dad and just leave him there to die, because
Got a whole
you're
world
a
to
bad
save.
son,
Yeah.
right? So this is Bogus.
Ne.
He's annoying because he has the whip.
この人も
of
ボスっぽいな。
It's like longer front to back. I call this the Kobe. May he rest in peace.
これ誰なんだろ
Wow, that was a crazy green laser beam he shoots. That is
Yep.
nuts looking. That looks.
That is his. That's the stronger attack, which I kind of don't mind him doing because it means he's not moving. I want to set up.
うピースをラスボス。
Hopefully, we'll get lucky I'll take 2 hits. That's not bad.
うんうん。これ倒したら終わりかな。
Okay, good. I want him to use that sword because that means he's not going to move. So we have
あ、
him
魔法だけ。
pretty much where I want him to be, and now
あ、
we
ギース王国リス、あ、
so we
ベラ軍っていう島の最南端にある剣の王国、野心にあふれ、武力を重んじる。
900 HP from what I recall. I have the mint leaves, right?
王様も武器で戦える。
First.
So are the attacks that these bosses are using, are they like similar to yours, or are they all like based on some kind of element, like for each one, or are
Oh,
some of them...
the bosses do have elements. So
バリア張りつつなだれと。
Zeus is wind, Nepti is water, Shilf is wind. I don't remember. Oh, geez, he's dead. That was 5 rocks with 1
あれ
missing.
爆発し、終わった
Fargo and Bogus are
終
fire.
わったけどまだタイマーが止まってない。
They take half damage.
なんかあんのか。あ、そっか。目的。別の目的あったわ、そういえば。エーテルの書とを見つけるのと父親助けなきゃいけないの。連続だいぶ噛み合いましたよね。すごいすごい。
Now we're gonna get the L-Tail book, and then the story will end. Except that
や
there's
ば
a
い、くしみ出そう。
guy that we need to beat up, unfortunately or fortunately. So it's the fun thing about this game is the final boss is kind of just like a congratulatory kind of battle because if you've noticed the L-Tail book that's what I just got. The avalanche spell is a very large area spell, and Mammon is
これ。
humongous, as you'll see in a moment. So it's kind of hard for avalanche to miss. So it's pretty much just, you know, kind of like a barn door. You can't miss, or the broadside of a barn rather.
That's pretty
Right, so here's the
contrary
creepy world.
to the Game Boy
Yeah.
version, right? I remember the fight in that one was actually kind of a toughie, isn't it?
雑談。浮かべ精霊院。
Only because magic barrier doesn't exist in the game.
BGM も不穏ですし、いかにもラストって感じ。
Is kind of easier. So the fun thing about the Game Boy game is if you can manip bosses' attacks. It's unique to each time you enter the fight. Usually, there's certain bosses that have certain spots where you can always manip a thing. But like most bosses, you can generally, if you do like if you hold left when a boss starts his turn, he'll do the same spell every time during that fight. Also, remember this room. You'll see it again. But in Mammon's case, if you stand in a particular spot, he'll shoot his laser, and you can dodge it. You can just run out of it while he's starting to cast a
あ、
spell.
浮いてますから、壁抜けできそうなところはなさそう。
But you have to stand in a specific spot, and you have to wait a certain amount of frames before you
一
start.
本道なんですね。
It's kind of tight. But if you do that, he's a joke.
Wow, this might be the most N64 area I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, right?
The checkerboard, it gave me very
なん
Mario.
か背景が可愛いぞ。
God, I saw her mention it. That is a man. It doesn't get much more.
何これ。
Original, the high quality N64.
あ、道中、あ、普通の敵だった。
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right. How is the crash showcase coming along? Because once Mammon's dead, which is like 3 minutes away, we're
なん
done.
かちょくちょく雰囲気変わりますね。
So we are still right around
何これ。
short on the crash showcase, so we still need to get a couple of donations in for that. So if you guys have been enjoying this run, please drop a donation if you are able. Just as a reminder, we are raising money for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization. NAMI provides advocacy, education, support, and public awareness to improve the lives of all individuals and families affected by mental illness. NAMI exists to ensure that no one is alone on their mental health journey. So if you've been enjoying this run like we have, please, if you're able to, toss a donation and put it towards the crash incentive. Because we're so close to meeting that, and it would be awesome to get to see that and kind of cap off a pretty solid time with Bing Palmer.
いや、だいぶ痛い。
Those were pinheads. You see how much HP I have left? They're terrifying. If this is any percent where we don't grind defense and don't fight Shilf and Fargo, I would be dead. They do so much damage. There's been a lot of world record pace runs where I am like right at a door.
今まで通ってきたワールド
Hey, guess what? Runs over, and there's nothing you can
え
do about it.
知らない場所ですね。
Bugs, but you know, it's the way it goes. Yeah, that's
い
terrible.
や、噛みつきが痛い。
I feel like you've gone through multiple different types of ecosystems in this area. It's gone from like
Yep.
dark and spooky to like now it's like a little bit of a park.
It's supposed to be Mammon's jail. He was imprisoned 1,000
よ
years
くイン
ago
コー
by
スで。
Epona, and Epona realized that we were the one that were gonna beat him, so he or she, it doesn't really get specified with Epona, assists us. Epona is, you know, Ocarina of Time stole the name from this game. Hey, look, it's this room again, but slightly different colored. Patting anyone? Yes, Epona, the magician that is at least 1,000 years old. This game came out before Ocarina of Time. You know, this game is breaking new ground.
Yep, yeah, this
Right?
is essentially, yep. I mean, I see I see how this game basically was.
7ドラの裏ダンジョンみたい。こういう継ぎはぎ。
Figured it out, and that's what led to, you know, the incredible games they came out with afterwards. So, not
Right.
a reach to say that, you know, Quest 64, kind of the reason.
Oh,
for
扉で
Ocarina
見
of
てきた。
Time. You know, there's a correlation there, maybe.
That's
somewhere,
true.
Perhaps, kind of.
There is a Twitter account I follow that is simply called Better Than OOT, and it is just a bot account that will
んどちら様
Oh, yeah.
the titles of random games that are better than Ocarina of Time, and I am absolutely positive that they have established
They've done
that
quite-
まあ、潰しに行った。
better than Ocarina of Time. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's an established fact at this point, in my opinion.
I got
なんかすごいとこ来ちゃったんですけど。
Naturally.
Right. I didn't mention there's some pathing that I'm taking in these rooms, specifically this room, to not get encounters. I still can get encounters, but it's significantly less likely. So there's a spot right about here.
あの
where I
女
can
イン
get
コー
encounter,
ス。
which
ここ
didn't
さっ
happen.
きも見た
And I
な。
can get encounter right here. So I'm unlucky, but no, that was pretty good. So yeah, Mammoth's coming up. As soon as he's dead, that's time. He is an
あ
absolute.
れ、扉の色、あれ
He has 3 attacks. 2 of them you
到
can
着
dodge if you really want to, or you can just stand in his face and cast.
いや、まだまだ。うん。
But I want everyone to look at Mammon's face and tell me what you think it reminds you of. I have a very specific thing that it reminds me of, but I'm curious if anyone sees what I see. So there he is. It's just it's like his head and his face.
あれですか
What he looks like.
ラスボス。
That's Mammon, the big purple space alien guy. Oh, but he got it.
うん。摩門戦。うんうん。
I think he looks exactly like.
これもやること同じかな。いや、バリア強いな。
That was 4.
I was
I
thinking
actually.
like, I was thinking like,
でしょうね。
demon-looking thing from Fantasia, if you know what I'm talking about. Also makes appearance in one of the Kingdom Hearts games. It's
Oh, I
like
don't
very
know that
large in the same way.
I just like how purple he is. I think it's a beautiful shade of purple.
He's basically just a purple space alien, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Alright, so I think we're at 7. After 4 hits, you can only hear 5th or more hits.
初でタイマーストップ。うんうん。
Because he's too high up. That was 5, so I think we're at 12. He has 2,300 HP. But yeah, as you can see, he's gigantic. And he's gigantic. Like, there isn't really much to say about this guy. He's kind of a joke. The only attack
いや、バリア強いわ。
hits the entire arena no matter what. But firewall, or lag wall as we call it because it lags, that and fire missile you can dodge. That's another 5, so we're like 17.
Yeah, that
16.
ヒット当たってますね。
A fire is not kind to the N64's
FPS?
frames.
Yeah, it's
that
kind
is-
of bad.
That is funny.
I think we're at 20. He's gonna die in a moment, so be ready on time. He could be this next one, could be the one after. Who knows? You have just a little bit of time for the crash incentive. Oh, maybe I'll take a drink real quick here.
Well, the good news is that we have eclipsed it. We've had a slew of donations in the last several minutes. So we had a $20 donation with no comment from My Hero Zero, a $50 anonymous donation, another anonymous donation for $20. Scythe Marshall donated $30 with a comment that just says, "Let's get that crash showcase," with a heart. Thank you very much. Warriors donated $10.
と飲んでた。
And then we got a based $100 donation
Ooh.
from your guy, the man, Professor Palmer. It says, "Thanks for reading this while I
Yo.
stepped away to grab another coffee."
あ、爆発しました。タイムストップです。
Thanks for letting me hop on for this incredible run, Bing. GG. So we will be seeing
Thank you.
that crash
Also, real quick,
expose here
Brian,
right now.
thanks you.
ま
And
で
goes away.
チャットでアシストさせてしてくださった方もありがとうございました。助かりました。
I didn't get to show you guys Death Dupe, unfortunately, because that's pretty much the coolest thing in the game, because it's a wild thing that goes on. But yeah, so thank you all. Rpglb Rig, thank you for allowing me to be here. My apologies for being an
これこの後どんちゃんと見つけたんだろうか。
dealing with my annoyance. Thank you, Mutsky and Palmer, for being here. Appreciate you guys.
Sorry,
to
I
the
just got
community. No, you're fine. Thank you
Did they
all
read
for
my
your
donation?
support. I really appreciate. Yes, they did. Thank you.
Excellent. Well done, Bing. Seriously, it was an excellent job, man. People, I think.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but people
You're fine.
don't appreciate just how much goes on under the hood of this monstrosity. It's a masterful performance.
Thank you. And to the Quest community, of course. Thank you all. And to my wife, who is asleep over there. I love you. I'm sure she'll see this at some point. Let me show you guys some crashes.
So we did meet the crash showcase.
このスタッフロールかい。
Let's go.
So,
let's
let's-
go. All right.
One of them isn't exactly a crash.
あ、なんかショーケースある？クラッシュショーケース。
It has to do with the return and stuff. So,
そうだ。
three quick things. This is
そういえばあっ
not
た。
long.
ビートを
Unfortunately,
達成したようなのでやるみたいですね。
other crashes that I know of are all by accident. If PJ is here, he might induce one.
WEステージ10分。
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It's this one. Okay. I need to. So ignore my stats. This was a testing save. Oh,
次
PJ
の
's here.
白い髪の人がいるってことは、
There was a time
中盤のデータかな。クリア後ので
empty.
カンストしてる。
I was doing runs. PJ showed up, said hi, and my game crashed immediately. I went through a door and the game just crashed. I've never been able to replicate it. It was at one time. All right, so with this one, this isn't exactly a crash. This is more like a weird, yeah, this is a hard mode. This is more kind of like a return bug. So while I'm setting this up, let me shout out a couple things or explain a couple things so you guys know there is two things that exist, or three things really that exist that are in the Quest community that are kind of new. There's a randomizer, so shout out to Hangman who built it with a lot of community kind of
データ壊しに行くのかな。何するんだろ
that. So there is a Quest 64 randomizer. You can find it on itch.io.
う。なのかな。
Merrow, Merrow, which is an enemy in this game. And there's also a hard mod, which Landmine36 in the chat is creating, which has changed up the game pretty significantly, which is awesome. Highly suggest if you get the chance to play the hard mod, it's a lot of fun. He's changed a lot of spells, enemies are changed, bosses are changed. There's a lot of really interesting stuff. Highly suggested it. He moves spirits. Though, like the big thing is he moves spirits around, and if you played this game as a kid and you looked for spirits, a lot of the spots where you would think to look, that's kind of where they are now, and I really enjoy it. So that's
タイ
fantastic.
ムリーな敵のデザインですね。
And also the third thing, we're actually in the process, shoutouts to Malos, of decompiling the game. So once that's done, maybe we'll get Quest 64 on PC. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know
It's
if the
true.
world's ready for something like that, to be honest.
All right. So this one is just a bug with
だけス
return.
テータス高いってことは結構逃げやすい感じです。 脱出しやすい。
Set up. So our return point is set to Normoon, but we used wings to get there. So when we cast return here, what
リ
happens
タ
is
ーン。
Wow.
Norman's over there.
Hmm?
We're just out of bounds. This
like a
isn't
wrong
exactly a
warp.
crash. And there's a couple different
Doko?
ways that you use this, and you end up in different spots, but you just end up out of bounds. This one isn't a crash because
Doko?
there's a dungeon exit or entrance, but it's kind of funny all the same, so it's worth seeing.
嬉しい。
That puts you
Yeah,
quite
you're
a
out of
ways
bounds.
out, Yeah.
Yeah, there's another one where you can set up with Branok.
いやーでもタイム止まってないんでまだやんのかな、まだ別のやつあんのかな。
What happens is because of the coordinate points that are set because of certain things with wings and then casting return, it doesn't use the right coordinates and just puts you out of bounds.
あ、でもショーケースだからいろいろやんのかな。
And it's just amusing. It's not useful in any way, shape, or form, but it looks cool. So yeah, we can just easily get in bounds by hitting this. Where is it? Is it on this side?
あれ戻れない
And then we can just
つな
back in bounds. Easy peasy.
違うな。
So yeah.
あ、戻れて
There's
る。
that. The second one is a soft lock. So I
セカンドってことはまだあるね。
two spots in the game where you can walk out of bounds. The other one was in Bogus's room, and I'll show you that now. Which save is that? That should be the one that's in Branok. This one, I think. Yeah, it's this one. I think. Yeah. We'll find out in a second. It doesn't really matter a whole lot if Bogus is there or not. But this one is this is a soft block. This is not a full hard crash. Fortunately, the vast majority of hard crashes are dumb luck or PJ. Just existing nearby a console. So this one is just a soft lock in Bogus's room. So there's I was talking about how you can walk out of bounds in a corner. There's two pillars on either side of Bogus when you get in that room. The one to the left, right next to the path that you walk across. Hello, music. When you go out of bounds there, and here's the chest glitch again. It only works on this one for some reason. The other one doesn't work.
あ、また箱あ、
When
違
you go
う
out of bounds here, you can't get back in bounds unless Bogus is there and he kills you. But otherwise, you are completely stuck out of bounds because both exits are doors.
I like how your dad was
So
still
let's-
there. He's still hanging out
Yeah.
waiting for you.
And he's still there, so still struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you get out of bounds here, you're fully stuck. You can't exit, you can't return, you can't use wings. There's no other encounters but Bogus. If he's dead, you are full stuck. Like this is a soft lock. Alright, so I did. Okay, good. I did kill him on this save. I thought I did.
あ、何
So there's
今の何
this pillar and this pillar, but you can only get out of bounds in this pillar. And this is how we discovered, or our squid found the battle arena. Is this
柱の
so
端
we're out of bounds.
いけ、
I have
あ
not been able to get back in bounds, and well,
浮いてる。
that's it. We're stuck. We can't.
Eh.
That's a door. I can't get that. That's a door up there. I can't get that. I've tried every corner. I was just curious, but yeah, this is a full crash. You can't even like. leave
浮遊
the
感与えちゃった。
not there. The Game Boy save window? I don't.
That
これ
looks
戻
like
れんのかな
Yeah, that is a.
Is it- it's- Where's the
sorry,
save window? Is it? Or is it gone now?
To the
Go ahead.
shown this trick of being soft locked from getting out of bounds in an area like that. Is that a is that exclusive to this area, or there?
戻れてる
Soft locks from out of bounds. pretty
この
much
端
where you can get out of bounds.
こちらの方行けば
Is it more
戻れ
like stuff
いや
than it is to
どうなんだろ
find something useful out of bounds?
Yeah, this is the only one of two spots that we found where you can actually just clip out of bounds without an encounter, and then this is it. So if Bogus is there, you're stuck. That's it. So you have to reset. And then the last one, and the best and most amusing one, is more of a warning to anyone who plays this game, but is also kind of funny.
う。ラストなのにもう一つありそうですね。
All right, so let's load. Where is it? This one. All right, cool. We have the spell. We're gonna make our way through the maze, and we're gonna look for a very particular encounter. And I'm actually gonna take my memory card out before I do this, just in case.
なるほど。 積み状況のバグ系のショーケー
You don't
ス
have to cover your ears for this one.
He
So
said he's
I'm just gonna
take his
say
pick.
this. Yeah, I don't know if this messes stuff up. There's the claim that it messes up the N64 cartridge, which is bogus because I've done this enough times that it doesn't. I always take my memory card out because I don't feel like recreating the saves in the off chance that it breaks it. So, you know, rather safe than sorry. You know.
Just so you guys in chat, you know, everyone knows what's on the line here. He had to physically remove his memory card because what you're about to see is that dangerous.
Takes And unfortunately, this save didn't have a lot of agility, so we're slower than everything, so we'll just make our way down here. So we're looking for a particular encounter, which is 3 or 4 Skelebats, and we're going to cast a particular spell, Rock Shower, and I'll just let the game speak for itself when it happens. So you can do it with 1 or 2 Skelebats, but it's much more unlikely. But 3 or 4 is guaranteed. I think 3 is like a 90% chance that it does what it does. I wanted to.
先っぽい。
All right, so hopefully we'll get the right encounter right at this corner. We'll try it with 2 because I've seen it crash like 1 time, but all right, we got 3. All right, so on your mark, get ready. What? Get ready, crash. Oh, it didn't.
Get ready, crash. Hmm?
Well, there. That's what Rock Shower does normally. Oh my god. Oh, okay. It crashed with 2. Yeah.
あ、
it's
これで
hard.
止まる
There's no way out of this.
ここ
This is it. There's nothing. I can't do anything.
What an
やっ
incredible
ている間に
experience. You guys get to see both versions. Where else are you going to get this level of Quest 64 content?
オ
Well,
ブジェクトの多さで落ちたのかなこれ。どうなそういうものなのかなあ、ショーケースこれで終わりだそうですね。
Not easily reproducible, and almost all of them are caused by PJ. So, you know.
あ、この敵だから起きるみたい
a
な。
little bit
う
more
ん、
situational for sure.
通常でも起きかねないような感じですね、ここ。危ない危ない。
Because Blue Cave is by and far the largest map in the game, and Rock Shower is a lot of polygons, and Skelebats are.
紹介されてるってことはおそらくこれ限定かなと思うんですけど。
I hope you enjoy the rest of RPG Limit Break, and I hope all the rest of the runners have good luck. Thank you.
どうなんだろう。あ、終わりま。寝てるゲーミングチャンネル寝てる
All right, so congrats to Bing on an awesome run and a really cool showcase of crashes that we got to see. Coming up next,
はい、では、以上、エルテイルモンスターズ N2% およびクラッシュショーケースでした。では次の準備、ドラクエ2ですね。今度実機プレイだと思われるので、はい、一旦準備してまいります。一旦失礼いたします。
So give her some love and get excited for her to be hosting this next run because she is an absolutely phenomenal person. And I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your evening.